They're in the gate. And they're off. Slow beginning for number 3, Ria's Angel, as the field moves up the backstretch with Curlin's Wisdom and Colloquy heads apart for the lead. Now Ria's Angel moves through down at the rail. In between horses Front Porch, Kong Loves a Fight is on the outside, and the 5 of them continue along here with Curlin's Wisdom leading the odds-on favorite Colloquy by 3/4 of a length. Then it's a break of 2 back to Front Porch, who is on the outside of Ria's Angel. The trailer is Kong Loves a Fight. The quarter 24 and 2/5 seconds. Curlin's Wisdom by a length. Colloquy continues to track in second. Then it's Ria's Angel and Front Porch right together third and fourth. Kong Loves a Fight is still at the back as the field heads for the far turn. The half and 48 and 1. And it is Curlin's Wisdom holding on to the lead here, 3/4 of a length. Colloquy on the outside is second by 2.5. Then Ria's Angel and Front Porch. Farther back, Kong Loves a Fight. Curlin's Wisdom trying to take them the entire 1.16 here. It is Curlin's Wisdom in front by a half length. Colloquy on the outside in second by 3 lengths. And then Ria's Angel next in third, followed by Front Porch and Kong Loves a Fight. Now they're at the top of the stretch, 3/4 and 1:13. Colloquy is on the outside of Curlin's Wisdom. Colloquy has now taken the lead as Curlin's Wisdom continues to battle on. Colloquy in front by a half length. Curlin's Wisdom runs in second with a 16th to the finish. It is Colloquy in front. Then Curlin's Wisdom. Kong Loves a Fight has moved into third. They come for the finish, and Colloquy gets the job done at 2-5.
A short price and a winner. Colloquy in the opener in his third start. Dylan Davis with his 7th win of the meet.
More professional today than in either of his first 2 starts, Acacia. He was able to sit just off the pace of Curlin's Wisdom, and he never really got to looking around, got to running out. He was a little green in his first 2 starts, a little bit more professional today. A workmanlike effort. You thought, at least I did, turning for home, he was going to kind of leave Curlin's Wisdom. Curlin's Wisdom refused to go away today, held on nicely, big run along the inside. Kong Loves a Fight was far back. He was trailing this field. He made up ground. This Orlando Nota barn. All of the horses seem to be running out of that barn as of late, but the favorite gets the job done. Workmanlike fashion, if you will.
Certainly did, but a win's a win, as last time out, Dylan Davis lost his crop in the stretch. Seemed like maybe you didn't see enough punch from that horse, not wanting to go by. Certainly has progressed, Dylan riding him back, and that strength on display. Didn't even need to go to the riding crop in the stretch. Had enough horse to get the victory, and I think that professionalism mentally, as you mentioned, on display. They made it fun in this opener, these two, as that pace did certainly hold together.
Yeah, they were 1-2 around the racetrack, and the favorite just grinded by Curlin's Wisdom at the end of the day.
2-1-6-3 in the opener, 2-5 favorite with the win in race 1 at Belmont Park. As we'll take a look at what else is still on tap, today's races, as always, presented by Claiborne Farm. Here's what we have coming up on this gorgeous Sunday afternoon. Races 2 through 9 still to come. We have the license fee and a big pick 6 carryover of 81,000 plus, which kicks off in race 4. We're fast and firm here in Elmont, New York. We have that $3 triple play pick 3, which we'll talk more about in a bit as well. At Oaklawn Park, we are a fast main track in Hot Springs, Arkansas, races 1 through 8 today on the program. There's no better time to join Naira Bets than right now. Join today and receive a $25 free bet for the Kentucky Derby. New members can also earn up to a $200 deposit bonus using promo code DERBY25. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime, and join now at NairaBets.com to earn that free $25 bet plus a $200 deposit match, as that's the first race in the books, was won by trainer Christophe Clement, and he does have 2 chances in today's feature race at Belmont Park. Taking a look at the field for the license fee stakes, which goes as race number 8 today, 6 furlongs on the inner turf for fillies and mares. 2 sexy even money on the morning line, and she's coming in off a layoff, a typical layoff for a turf runner, Anthony, as she was in very good form towards the latter part of her 4-year-old season.
A winter layoff, if you will, Acacia, right? right? That's what we've grown to call it. This is a nice effort in the autumn days. She had to alter course a couple of times, and the winner you'll see change of control rather, just up the inside with a clean trip. I think if you switch trips, Too Sexy would have got the job done. And she really, last summer up in Saratoga, she became a bit of a win machine, even when she got beat. Less than a length in both of her defeats and 3 of 5 wins. Like I said, small margins in defeat. She's gotten really good. She's gotten really good. She gets Joel Rosario aboard, and yeah, lots to like. Even money, not so much to like, but lots to like.
The other one for the barn is Miss Jay McKay, who does have that recency coming up from those turf sprints down in South Florida at Gulfstream Park. That'll be a fun one coming up a little bit later on today. The license fee as our feature Sunday at Belmont Park. But in the opener, it was the number 2 Colloquy for Jump Sucker Stable and trainer Christophe Clement, as Christophe is standing by with Maggie in the winner's circle.
And Colloquy grinds out the victory. Christophe, 3rd career start. I know. Well, were you really tough on Dylan last time when he dropped his crop?
No, I was not. That happens. And actually, I did not see it live. I saw it when I watched the replay. But anyway, no, I'm delighted he won. As you know, he belongs to Jump Suckers, so I'm very happy.
A long supporter of your stable, but looks as though this could be kicking off quite a big day for you. You send out Soldier Rising for his 4-year-old Bow in what looks to be a pretty good spot, Christophe. We were talking on our show earlier, Anthony and I, how do you ride this horse? You have a Rod Ortiz back on. We've seen him drop way out of it. We've seen him be close. What's his optimal trip?
I'm not sure. His optimum, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be up to Harvard. You know, my deal is I train them as well as I can. He rides them as well as he can. It's a 1.25 miles. I think 1.25 miles, 1.8 miles, 1.5 is fine. And we just leave it up to Harvard. It's a pretty good race, actually, on paper, you know.
It's very contentious, and also the license fee, the same kind of scenario, but you have 2 horses in there, Miss Jay McKay, as well as Too Sexy. Too Sexy is the one coming off the layoff. What are your thoughts between these 2 mares?
I think they're pretty similar. Unfortunately, there was one scratch this morning, which might have been the speed of the race. So it's going to be maybe a very tactical kind of a race. But, you know, we leave it up to the jockey.
Was that a slight on my husband or what?
That was up to him, not me.
Brutal. Well, at least you have one less rival to worry about, I suppose. But best of luck later on. But congrats with kicking off the day in style.
Thank you so much.
All right, Colloquy gets the job done here, guys. And it could be one, fingers crossed, of many Acacia for the Clement stable.
The fingers crossed indeed. Could be a big day, Maggie. Thank you. And she did allude to that as Colloquy, a $2.80 winner in the opener with Assertive Style out. Looks like Igloo will be loose on the lead in that license fee and will really be a rider's race coming up a little bit later on.
The live long shot over at Naira Bets for the blog, the live long shot of the week is Igloo. And they're going to have her to catch in that license fee later on. But if anybody does, it'll probably be that guy right there. We got to get him in the Hall of Fame this year. That's what we got to do.
I'm biased.
I've been driving that wagon for about 4 years now, so.
Well, looking forward to potentially a big day for the stable. But yesterday, a big day for the New York Breds. New York Bred Exacta in the elusive quality, and Scuttlebuzz with a tremendous breakthrough performance to get the first stakes win of his career for trainer Rudy Rodriguez. We'll talk more about his victory after this on America's Day at the Races.
A Grade 1 winner of nearly $2 million, Silver State hails from the sire line of legendary Claiborne stallion Danzig. And his second dam is full sister to Kentucky Derby winner Monarchos. After winning the Oaklawn Handicap, Silver State defeated Knicks Go in the Grade 1 Metropolitan Handicap. On the board in 12 of 14 starts from ages 2 to 4, his career included a 6-race winning streak. Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2, brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Yesterday's feature race, the Elusive Quality, did not disappoint in his excitement as we saw a breakthrough performance from the 5-year-old gelding by the Factor. Scuttlebuzz, he was in terrific form last year in 2021, off for the winter, came back for Rudy Rodriguez, and got the first stakes win of his career, Anthony, with a 101 Beyer speed figure.
He went to the bench winning 3 or 4 races and came back from his winter break in fine form. Here he is in his stakes debut. Going to take the long way around in the 5-path here. You can't miss him. Gray with the yellow hat on Hall of Famer Javier Castellano's head. That horse coming up with the other yellow hat, that's Therapist. He's a millionaire. And he's a multiple New York bred and open stakes winner. And he's going to hold him off. Hold him off pretty comfortably, too. This is an impressive effort. 7 furlongs for Scuttlebuzz. Gave his trainer, Rudy Rodriguez, an early 50th birthday present. Today's Rudy's birthday. Happy birthday to Rudy.
I didn't know that. Happy birthday, Rudy.
And there you see it, Scuttlebuzz first stakes win. What, that mare. His son,
She's amazing.
Heart belongs to Dad.
Yep.
My heart belongs to Daddy. Runaway Rumor. Nice. She's a nice little New York bred mare right now, and Scuttlebuzz becomes the 3rd stakes winner from her.
This is a horse that they claimed for $30,000 back in April of 2021. Now a stakes win. What a terrific performance from that gelding. Therapist, the first run of his year, and a big effort off the bench from him too. But it was cool to see a New York bred exacta in the Elusive Quality, and big performances from both of those, particularly the winner Scuttlebuzz with that big figure.
Yeah, Therapist, more of a one-turn horse. He got his one turn after finishing 4th in the Dangerous Hour earlier this year at Aqueduct. He's in, as these horses start to get a little bit older, you kind of look for the fresh faces, if you will. And I think Scuttlebuzz kind of took advantage of that value proposition, did not run particularly well after his front-running try in the Dangerous Hour. So maybe some new blood into the turf sprints around here. It's always good to see. And I wonder now, Acacia, if they take the big shot with Scuttlebuzz. He's already won going 6. Do you think about, off that 101 Beyer speed figure, do you think about our Jaipur Invitational here at Belmont Stakes Racing Festival? I know I would be thinking it if I was his owner.
With that figure that he got, why not? What do you have to lose
Nothing.
with what he's done so far? Meanwhile, at Oaklawn Park yesterday, we had an upset in the feature there in The Bachelor, as it seemed like Steve Asmussen laid over this field. The winner, Wayland Springs, for John Ortiz, who's been having a terrific meet, paid $17.60. Taking a look at the start of Wayland Springs and Cogburn, one of the 2 for Steve Asmussen in this race.
More state-bred dominance as the Archie bred. And he's Archie through and through. John and Anthony in the short leaf, chocolate, brown, and yellow here. You see Cogburn. It looks like he's going to hold him off every single step of the way. And then the last 3 jumps, Wayland Springs says, I got to defend my home turf here, buddy. I'm going to come get you in my home state. And he just puts his head right on the money when it counts. This was a fun horse race because there was a lot of drama here. Was he going to get him? Was Cogburn going to hold on? And fun stretch duel that went to the bigger price.
Certainly made that exciting. Wayland Springs with the win, coming off of a Arkansas bred stakes win in the Rainbow Air, stepping up to face Open Company for the first time in his career, which is a huge jump for horses. But again, the barn having a terrific year that same morning. Their Derby charge, Barber Road, worked at Churchill Downs. So certainly all good things coming out of the John Ortiz barn right now, as Wayland Springs able to run down Cogburn. An exciting finish.
Those silks they were Loblolly when I was a kid, and they were one of the first stables that I really, growing up in New York, growing up on the NYRA circuit, Phipps, the old Rokeby stable, of course, the gray and the yellow. And for me, I was a big Tom Bohannon fan. Tom had the Loblolly horses for a very long time. Now John and Anthony runs in short leaf, and those silks still iconic. My favorite short leaf / Loblolly horse, the Preakness winner of 1993, Prairie Bayou. So when I see those silks, I always remember Prairie Bayou.
I love it. A little walk down memory lane there. I actually saw something cool on Twitter yesterday, which was, what was the name of the horse that won the Kentucky Derby the year you were born?
That would be Seattle Slew, who is one of my favorite horses of all time, and I think the most influential thoroughbred in the last 50 or 60 years. So Seattle Slew is my answer.
Lil E.T. for me. 1992.
Wow, a Rossi.
Yeah.
I picked a Rossi that year.
Yeah.
He's finishing right about now. Rossi.
Yeah, absolutely. Back here today. Meanwhile, we'll see if we can get some good winners coming up through the rest of the day. We are on the turf for the second race, a mile and a 16th in the inner New York bred allowance for 3-year-olds and upward, competitive field and bar 14, currently 7-5, as he will try to take them every step of the way. Under that man, Joel Rosario, who also is on a key Derby contender, Epicenter, for trainer Steve Asmussen, as both trainer and jockey look for their first Kentucky Derby victory.
Introducing a stallion, as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus buyer speed figures, a 3-time grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
New for Belmont Spring, the $3 triple play pick 3. Choose the winners of the last 3 races at Belmont Park every Sunday to win big. Plus, play on Naira Bets for a free $10 triple play bet. Go to Naira.com/triple play for details.
If you're looking into racing partnerships, you should know they're not all the same. When you partner with Bond Racing Stables, you become a member of a growing family of racing enthusiasts, all guided by 3 generations of experience in thoroughbred breeding, training, and racing. Share in the excitement at Saratoga and Belmont Park, where we've graced a winner's circle with winners like Giacosa, who was bred, born, and raised here at our Song Hill Farm. Get more than just a partnership. Become a member of the Bond Racing family. 3 generations of thoroughbred excellence.
This season at Monmouth Park, opening day is Derby Day. Live racing returns to the Jersey Shore Saturday, May 7th with a special 2 p.m. first post. The action continues every weekend in May with racing starting at 12:15. Win early and often with our Win Early Pick 5s. New for 2022, on-site customers can lock in odds with fixed odds wagering at Monmouth Park Racetrack.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races, brought to you by Naira Bets, where you can bet any track, anywhere, anytime, including the Kentucky Derby with Naira Bets, just 6 days away. Get started with your free $25 Derby bet at NairaBets.com or download the app today.
He's smirking at over there.
You get the bug. You get the bug over there. Were you successful?
Fly just landed on my beautifully coiffed spiked hair. Really?
There was some real stress going on the other side of the table here a few minutes ago. It's time for our Kentucky Derby Spotlight as we take a look at one of the likely favorites. We'll draw the fields for Oaks and Derby tomorrow. Epicenter, who has been really sensational coming off this win in the Louisiana Derby. He's been turning heads in the mornings as well. He and Zandon seem to kind of be the major players. He's gotten good trips so far, Anthony. Obviously, he's going to be facing a lot of horses and the toughest horses at the 1.25 mile distance. Can he handle it all?
We were talking about this last night. I like Zandon in the race. That's not to say I don't like Epicenter. If we were making picks, he'd be my 3rd pick. This race, though, was the most impressive prep to me. Not as an overall race, but for an individual performance because of what he was able to do. And that was turn off. And that's going to be key on Saturday. Because there's some speed sign on here now. Early voting was declared today like we thought. He's going to be pointed for the Preakness for Chad Brown and Klarovich Stables, who Chad will be represented by Zandon, will probably be the favorite. But this horse was able to turn off and make a nice sustained run from the 5/16 pole home. Something I think a lot of people didn't necessarily think he was going to be able to do. But he was able to turn off. He did not need the lead. You don't need to. If you need the lead in the Kentucky Derby, more often than not, you're not going to win the Kentucky Derby. The fact that he was able to kind of, and he didn't do it fighting Joel Rosario. He melted into his hands, and he just let him call the shots. That makes him very dangerous on Saturday.
Joel Rosario is such a good fit for a horse like that as well. As we bring in Maggie to this conversation, Maggie, what have you seen from Epicenter as he preps for that first Saturday in May?
Well, I like the fact that he actually gets some time, and because until the Louisiana Derby win, in which we saw towards the end of March, where several of these horses are coming in off a shorter rest than him, but he put in that game and he hit every single one of the Fairgrounds preps. And I like what Steve Asmussen said after his defeat in the LeCompte, in that while losing that race, it actually turned him into a man. And you could see that with each subsequent win in the Risen Star and then the Louisiana Derby, learning to rate. And they've been very, very kind of crucial in the way that they've been preparing this horse in his workouts as well. Last week, we saw him on the outside of Gunnet. This week, we see him on the inside. Actually, today, he worked, and he was on the inside of Alejandro, in which they went the 5 furlongs in 101 flat. And you can see that I'm pretty sure Eddie Martin Jr. is the one who has been on the other horse, and how instrumental he is in getting that horse to kind of do what's needed of Epicenter, to sit off of him, to push him along, to kind of make him respond. And I think he's responding beautifully to every test that they've thrown at this horse. So as Anthony said, I liked his running style too for the Derby. It's shown that he can sit off the pace, but he's going to be the first one to make the run. And a lot of times, that's when you don't incur any traffic problems, Acacia.
Yeah, we'll see if he can get a clean trip. Maggie, thank you. Epicenter, so intriguing, as I loved what she said about how he's turned into a man and everything with the training, with the horsemanship. Not surprising, given that it's North America's winningest trainer, Steve Asmussen, who's won just about everything that there is to win, except the Kentucky Derby. He's had some close calls. He's won the Preakness twice, won the Belmont with Creator. Is he able to get the Derby win this year?
I think that it's silly to say, because of course it's his best chance. It's his next chance.
Yeah.
But this horse is the goods. He has the right running style, and for my money, he has the best rider in the game, and he is sitting on bar 14, as you can see on your screen right now.
Joel Rosario, champion jockey of 2021, got his first Eclipse Award there, and Joel Rosario back here in New York. He's on the current 3-2 favorite. As this horse gets back to the turf, I know not one that you were in favor of in this spot. He does have speed, though.
Yes, bar 14, proof that you can get heckled by a coworker even on their day off. Yeah, he has some speed. And I'm not going to – I can't argue that getting back to the turf isn't what he wants to do. My problem is he has just as good a one-race turf on the turf as he does on the dirt. And that worries me, because if you take that one number that sticks out like a sore thumb on the dirt and that one number that sticks out like a sore thumb on the turf, he does not deserve to be anywhere near 8-5.
Do you think Joel is moving the price?
I think the fact that this horse looks loosey-goosey on the front end is what's moving the price. He looks like he should be in control on the front end. The scratch of Mr. Kringle did nothing to that. Mr. Kringle would have taken some money, so I think that moves the price a little lower, but it doesn't affect the pace scenario. This horse is going to be on the front end today, and maybe that's enough. But at 8-5, I don't want to find out.
Going a mile and a 16th on this inner turf course, the number 7, Uncle Curly, an intriguing one as he comes up from Gulfstream for Peter Walder. And over the last month or so, the horses that Peter Walder has sent up to New York have been well meant at Aqueduct. But take a look at his last race at Gulfstream, and this is a horse that he's tough to ride. Actually, Christophe Camus had him at the start of his career, and Larry Bates claimed him, and Larry Bates put cheek pieces on him because he is a horse that drifts. They've experimented over the years, blinkers on, blinkers off, and he's bumping into his foe, leaning on his neighbor. This is kind of a typical Uncle Curly type of move.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about him in a moment, but post-parade kicking off here, Barley One to start things off.
Barley One, the blinkers come off in his second start for trainer Keith O'Brien. This horse goes from open starters to the state bred ranks today.
There he is on track. Eric Cancel going to be in the saddle. Here's the 2, Breadman.
Breadman gets back to the turf. He broke his maiden at first asking here at Belmont Park. He's winless in 6 starts since.
He is 9-2 currently. Here's your favorite at bar 14.
Your favorite, the speed. He gets Joel Rosario. He has a win here at Belmont Park. His lone turfwood came at Belmont Park. We'll see if he can take him gate to wire.
Here's the 5, Practice Squad.
If anybody puts pressure on bar 14, it could be him, Kendrick Carmouche, riding for Joe Sharp. This is first off the claim for Joe. He took this horse at the fairgrounds back in February.
Here's an interesting horse, the 6 Sundays with Sandy. It was a slow race, but he's 1 for 1 on the turf.
Yep, finally gets back to the grass. He went gate to wire back in September in his lone try on the weeds. Had 1 race off of a 5-month layoff. Could be dangerous in here.
And here's that quirky horse we were just talking about, Uncle Curly.
Yeah, Uncle Curly comes in for Peter Walder, who struggled on the NYRA circuit until the last 5 or 6 horses he's run. They've all fired good shots. He gets the hot apprentice Jose Gomez in the saddle.
And we'll see if he can keep a straight course today, as he was beaten just by slim margins in his last couple. Those were for open claiming races. He's a New York bred. It makes sense coming up to face New York bred company, but it is technically, it's a step up from claiming races.
Yeah, he's not finding an $80,000 purse
right
anywhere else, and he gets to face New York breds. Not that that's an easy task.
Right.
Over the last 20 or 30 years, we've caught up. 30 years ago, the drop to the New York bred ranks was an essential one and a pretty big one. That's not the case anymore, Acacia.
Mitch Levitas, our director, loves to show the level of wind each day. So there's a look at the flag. It's nice and a calm breeze today. And it is worth noting, too, as the first couple days of the meet, we had a very strong headwind down the backstretch, and it's lovely out today.
We should get a graphic for Mitch.
We should put him on the flag.
Unfurled but calm is how I would say it today. How about that? Do you like that, Mitch?
Perfect. Here's, how about let's go back to the 5 practice squad, because I agree with you. I think he's the intriguing wild card of this race. First time against New York bred company. He's first off the claim for Joe Sharp, and he has the ability to be forward. He's actually the half-brother to Upstart, too.
Yes. So you brought up that Uncle Curly used to be trained by Christophe Galland, so we're familiar with Uncle Curly on the circuit. He hasn't been here for a while, but we're familiar with him. In fact, he has a race back in Saratoga last year. This horse is fresh on the scene. And his 2 turf races are a little on the slow side, but he could improve. He could be the one sitting off of bar 14. He could be the first one to come calling on bar 14, and maybe that trip helps him get to the winner's circle. I still think he'd need to improve a little bit to be a serious win candidate, but there's no saying that he can't.
Well, horses warming up on track. There's a look at your favorite. Let's go check in trackside with Maggie.
Well, going into this race, I did like bar 14. Thought I might get a price on him. Not happening here, but I'll stick with my guns. He's not the horse that ultimately grabs me, and I'll talk about the other 2 that I'm very intrigued by based upon appearances. But I will say that bar 14, Joel Rosario immediately took him away from the pony, gave him a big warm-up, and he is moving efficiently over this racetrack. Just no wasted action, framed himself up very nicely on the bit. So I like what I'm seeing from him with that regard. But we'll move on to Breadman, who I didn't know what to make of him, because he won first time out in the turf, then they try him in the Central Park, then he has a layoff, then he comes back in the Transylvania, he runs okay, and then he's supposed to win the other then, and then he goes on the bench, so maybe something happened then. He looks way better than what I've seen from him in the past going into those more recent turf races. His coat's better, his weight and conditioning is better, he's moving well out there. I'm looking at a different Breadman than what I've seen from him in the past. And 2, I'm still not sold on this turf course being ultimately, summer firm, but it shouldn't be. But again, his last 3 turf efforts have come with a little bit more juice in the ground than possibly what he's getting here, and he could appreciate a bit of a firmer course under his feet. As we'll move on to that 3-year-old, that's number 5 practice squad, and Jordan Wyckoff is the son of Kirk Wyckoff and 3 Diamonds Farm, and they love their turf races, and it's kind of astonishing that this horse was running out of town as a New York bred. They picked him up for the $30,000, rightfully so, as he's shown more life on the turf, and he looks that way physically. He's very much that turf frame. But I also found it interesting, too, that Joe can sometimes put a little bit more speed in his horses, just sometimes. this horse is acting like he could be more forwardly placed. Plus, he reaches out to Kendrick Carmouche. He's on his toes. Kendrick gave him his big warm-up that he typically does. And honestly, against some older horses where he hasn't faced older horses in the past, he physically matches up well with him as far as size and scope is concerned. So he's a real interesting wild card here, getting against New York breds for the very first time in his career, Acacia.
Maggie, thank you. The new face practice squad coming in for Joe Sharp. And interesting what Maggie was saying about how Joe Sharp's horses can tend to be a little bit more forward. And you will see that he's had some very, very fast sprinters. And you have an aggressive rider with somebody like Kendrick.
Yeah, I would imagine this horse is right on the hip of bar 14. And we'll see if that trip, and you know, that's the trip I want in these races more often than not. I think the other horse that would make sense to be forward is Breadman. That's who I picked in here. I picked Breadman. Maggie brought up him getting back to a fast, firm turf. I think that's going to help. I think the fact that he ran in a couple of Open Company Stakes races, that's going to help. I like the fact that John Terranova ran this horse twice in the winter. He came off that May layoff, so he was gone 9 months, and he ran well enough first time back on the dirt when he caught a wet track for the first time that you had to run him again. And when he did and he didn't really fire at all, he put him back away for the turf. But at least, you know, you see the winter break, and a horse like Breadman, if John didn't try him the 2 times on the dirt over at the Big A, he would have been coming off of the, well, in his case, he would have been coming off an 11-month layoff. But even a more natural winter layoff, they're gone November, December, let's say. I like to see the horse have a race or two under his belt, and you're starting to see it more and more. These guys and gals who train horses, they'll run a horse once on the dirt, maybe knowing full well they can't stand up on it or they don't really prefer it. Now, he's run well enough on the dirt where, you know, you can give him a blow, right? The old adage is a race is worth 3 works. So it's not, you know, he didn't run 4 weeks ago, but he didn't run 5 months ago. So I like a little bit of recency. I'll tell you what I do like, too. I like his price. I'm a little surprised he's a bigger price than Uncle Curly. I thought their prices would be flip-flopped. And I don't prefer bar 14, but I understand why he's short. I thought there was a chance Breadman would be the favorite in here today, and instead he's the 3rd choice.
Breadman, Colt by Constitution, got some good notes from Maggie on the track as well as far as how he's progressed coming back as a 4-year-old. What about the 6 Sundays with Sandy? Again, he won his only turf start. It was a slow race, but he obviously can handle the turf. What do we get from him today?
He had a gigantic lead and almost coughed it up for the last 16th of a mile. We haven't seen him back on the grass since. Rudy tried to run him on the turf last time. It rained off. And again, I like the fact that he ran him on the dirt to get a race into him. He actually didn't run that poorly, right? His other wet track races really weren't that good. He kind of ran the same race he ran before he went to the bench. So a horse is gone 5 months. You give him a race. He gets Lasix for the first time on turf now. He had Lasix last time. Yeah, all signs point to him getting better. I just don't know, you know, even if he improves 10 points.
Oh, yeah, that's the big question. Is he good enough?
Is he good enough?
I think he's a little interesting, though, because I think he's the type of horse that doesn't like to be down inside.
Okay.
Two Back in the Sleepy Hollow, to me, looked really uncomfortable down inside. We'll see. We'll see what happens. He's meeting some tough company today as he gets back on the turf for the first time since his maiden score in September. Maggie going with the number 4, bar 14, as did I say that favoritism shifted over to Uncle Curly? We'll see how it shakes out. Here's John and Brielle.
And the rough. There goes bar 14 along with Sundays with Sandy. It is bar 14 who has the lead. Sundays with Sandy runs in second, and then it's Uncle Curly next in third, a little more than a length. Back to Practice Squad, who runs in fourth, length and a half to Breadman, and 3.5 more to Barley One, the trailer in sixth. As they move up the backstretch, it is bar 14 who shows the way here. Bar 14 now gets away to lead by 3 lengths. Sundays with Sandy in second, the opening quarter mile, 23-4. Bar 14 in front as they race midway up the backstretch. Bar 14 by 2. Sundays with Sandy getting a bit closer now in second. Uncle Curly, Practice Squad, their heads apart, third and fourth, followed by Breadman, and Barley One is at the back. Bar 14 continues to show the way, ran the half in 48-3. Bar 14, length and a half over Sundays with Sandy as they go around the far turn now. Bar 14 continues to lead with Sundays with Sandy still in second. Practice Squad, Uncle Curly heads apart third and fourth. Breadman looking for a way through now. He's in fifth, and the trailer is Barley 1 as they hit the head of the stretch. Bar 14 trying to take them wire to wire here. It's Bar 14 in front by 2. Sundays with Sandy being asked for more. Uncle Curly's on the outside. Practice Squad down at the rail along with Breadman. And then Barley 1. It is Bar 14 with the lead. On the outside, Uncle Curly. Then Practice Squad. Bar 14. Wire to wire under Joel Rosario.
Bar 14 takes them every step of the way, and while Practice Squad was not, in fact, pressing him early, he was able to close and get up for second.
Yeah, don't worry about Prince or Fido today, folks. Joel Rosario just walked the dog for you on the front end with Bar 14. 48-3.
Yeah.
48-3. He's 2.5 lengths clear. They could have put the money in Eddie F. Racing's account at that point today. This thing was history.
Bar 14 taking them every step of the way. It looks like it was 4.57 under the line, but comfortable on the front end was the number 4 Bar 14 with Joel Rosario in the saddle. Joel has been all over the place. He's riding at Keeneland, going where he needed to go, over to Oaklawn Park to ride the likes of Jackie's Warrior, big horses for Steve Asmussen, now back in New York and just doing what he does.
Yeah, just he is one of the best. He doesn't do it often enough, but he is one of the best in the business at stealing away to easy leads and then doling a horse's speed out.
Such a good judge of pace.
Amazing.
Yeah.
He has a clock in his head, and it's so for a guy that is so good at finishing. He has a ridiculous clock in his head because if you were to compartmentalize Joel Rosario, he's a finisher.
Right.
Right? He's really a very polished rider,
Right.
but the misnomer is he's a finisher. For a guy that is known as a finisher, to have the clock he has, absolutely remarkable.
He pilots Bar 14 to victory, taking them every step of the way for trainer Gary Siaka. We'll bring you prices after this. It was indeed 4.572 in the second at Belmont Park. We'll also continue on with our Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks spotlight as Hall of Fame trainer Todd Pletcher has 5 chances between the 2 races, looking for that Oaks Derby double. More on that after this.
Idol perfectly timed. Idol gets up under Joel Rosario to win the big gap.
It's known agenda for St. Elias Stable.
Race Adler, a scintillating performance in the TVG Del Mar debutante.
And Clariere will win the cotillion. Down to the wire. Who's going to win it? It's Mala by a neck.
Curling, the classic sire.
We're back on America's Day at the races. So happy to have you with us as we just saw race 2 at Belmont Park. It was Bar 14 who took them every step of the way under Joel Rosario, trained by Gary Siaka and owned by Eddie F's Racing. Standing by with Maggie.
I'm here with the man, Eddie F. Eddie Fazzone, also a restaurateur up in Saratoga. We'll get to that in a second. But Bar 14, I heard Gary saying that you wanted to get Joel Rosario on this horse, and boy, you had to be pleased when the PPs came out.
I did, absolutely. You know, speed horse and Joel on the lead on the turf. Best there is as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, it was great to have him.
And to be the only speed in the race, too, that helped, too.
For sure.
But a horse that you claimed, but we've seen you be a breeder of horses as well, and Lobster and Chowda. I mean, talk about their names a little bit.
I name them after the restaurant. You know, we got the lobster roll and chowder, and then I got the half-brother Oyster. He's coming in soon, so he's a half-brother. Should be coming up another month or so. I don't know if he'll be ready for Saratoga. We hope. If everything, we'll let him do the talking. But yeah, it's been a great ride. We've won 3 stake races. You know, we're a small stable. We bring in new partners all the time. We got a lot of activity going on right now. Going to try to claim a couple more before Saratoga, and it's been a great ride for us. So all it's good.
Well, you mentioned Saratoga, and your restaurant is kind of in the hood that I live in, right by what is it, off of Lake there?
Yeah, it's on Clinton Street.
Yep.
It's the old pink store right down the street from Skidmore College, right there, residential neighborhood. So we look like a house right there, a pink house.
So how did you get into racing? Was it because you were in Saratoga, or?
My whole family, we were going since we were little kids, and, you know, just took me and my brother really just took a real liking to it, and that's all we did. We watched. The kids started coming over to the house watching races, and we got everybody into it. So, yeah, my whole family's big into it.
So if Oyster wins, do we get oysters on the house?
Sure, why not? Absolutely. Chowder, oysters, lobster rolls will do it all. We'll send it all in.
Well, Eddie, congratulations. Been fun to watch your horses.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Eddie F, or Eddie Fazzone, as he's more officially known as, but they've had a lot of success, them and Gary Siaka teaming up, and Bar 14 gets the job done today with the front-riding Joel Rosario, Acacia.
And we're going to hold him to that, Maggie. $7.10 winner, oyster, chowder, lobster. All sounds good, but Bar 14, a horse that they claimed, gets the win here in race 2 at Belmont Park. More from Belmont in a moment, but as we mentioned before the break, trainer Todd Pletcher, who's won 2 Kentucky Derbies, has plenty of chances for the Derby and Oaks this year. We'll take a look at a couple of his contenders, starting with probably the main Derby contender that he has, Mo Donegal, who won our Wood Memorial here, part of this Derby spotlight. And this is a horse that tends to close from off of it. Joel Rosario sticking with Epicenter, so Irad Ortiz will have the mount.
He won our Remsen over Zandon. He won our Wood Memorial over early voting, who was declared from the Derby today. He'll point to the Preakness. And this is another fantastic Joel Rosario ride, saving ground, able to come along the inside here. We see him up against the rail, kind of not boxed in here, but he had to wait for a little room. He got his daylight, and he was able to haul in early voting in the last 4 or 5 jumps of the Wood Memorial. We'll see how he handles the crowd. We'll see how he handles the extra furlong. You would imagine the extra furlong is not going to be an issue for him,
right? The
way he runs. The fact that Joel Rosario was already essentially committed to Epicenter before the race, and nothing could wow him enough. I mean, he gets Irad Ortiz Jr. back in the saddle, so you're not going to scoff at the rider change. Listen, he's good. He's really good. We'll see if he can turn that success at Aqueduct into success on the first Saturday in May in Louisville.
That will be the big question as Mo Donegal. We saw him in the Wood Memorial, as you mentioned. Joel Rosario going to stick with Epicenter. Irad Ortiz rode him actually to victory, though, in the Remsen. He's well familiar with him. And this was a horse that was really hurt by that first finish line in the Holy Bull down in Florida. Much better suited to that Aqueduct configuration. But Todd Pletcher also has Charge It, who we saw run in the Florida Derby off the back of a maiden win. And Todd obviously knows how to win the Florida Derby. He's won it 6 times. Charge It, though, still that inexperience, that greenness showing in this race, as he's talented, but he's obviously spotting some of the others a lot of the seasoning.
Right, and that's the big issue with quite a few runners in here. Just a maiden win for him in 3 tries. This is a big effort. And I'll be honest with you, Acacia, of all of the horses that would be considered the South Florida contingent this year, he's the only one I want.
No love for simplification.
Not really. No. I would imagine, though, this is going to be a pretty tough task to ask him to win the Kentucky Derby in his 4th start with just a maiden win under his belt. With that said, I think there is some blue sky for him. I think you got to love his pedigrees by tapping out of an Indian Charlie Mare. And you got to like his connections. Luis Saez, Todd Pletcher. He's another horse. He's not without speed. He doesn't need the lead. He'll be forward in a race where there are quite a few horses that look to be in the same kind of position or want to be in the same kind of position. He'll be in the early running.
He does have the pedigree. The mare is also the sister to Will Take Charge and Take Charge Indy. There's plenty of pedigree there. I actually picked him in the Florida Derby. He's a horse that wowed me down this winter, but again, will be facing much tougher in that Kentucky Derby, a big field, and just a horse that hasn't really seen everything that some of his other contenders have.
You know, he got to run out of his own stall for the Florida races as well, even though that stall is not at Gulfstream, this is at Palm Beach Downs, the training center that Todd Pletcher
45 minutes
uses.
away.
Yeah, 45 minutes away. But, you know, it's a little different now. He's in different surroundings. And, look, like I said, if any of the South Florida horses rattle any cages on Saturday, I think it'll be him.
Meanwhile, for the Kentucky Oaks, Todd Pletcher has 3 chances. We'll take a look at his kind of big namesake and big name chance. That is Nest, who has really developed and come along and become a major contender leading into the first Friday in May. As we take a look at her Ashland victory, she's one I think that has really taken a big step forward as a 3-year-old.
Yeah, and she's run good races. Unlike Mo Donegal, whose best races have come at Aqueduct, she's run good races at multiple venues.
Yeah.
And that's important because she takes her show on the road. And she's really been the one, I think, to blossom this year. Right? You'd still like to see her run a little bit faster, but that's not to say she can't keep improving, because that's all she's really done since that Demoiselle win is keep improving, and that's all you can ask from these fillies at this point. And she seems to be the one of the ones coming in playing the hot hand.
3 straight stakes wins coming into the Kentucky Oaks, as Todd also has Goddess of Fire and Shahama. But Maggie, as far as Nest and that progression that we've seen from her, what did you take from her latest work leading into the Kentucky Oaks?
I liked it, Acacia, and primarily not necessarily the time on the clock, which was good and very respectable in the 48-3, but the gallop out with Arad Ortiz aboard. I mean, once they got to the backside, as we saw the workmate on the outside, kind of never really getting to her, and then Irad said, okay, let's pull up, and then she kind of grabbed the bit again on him. So I liked what I saw from her, and it was funny kind of going back and thinking about going into the Suncoast at Tampa, which was her first start as a 3-year-old. Todd saying, she's gone on, but do I think the screws are really tight? No. And she got the job done that day, and then we saw her just really explode in the Grade 1 Ashland on that 3 to 4 wide hunt through the entire way, and the way she just kind of sprung forward. I love the way this filly covers the ground. She kind of springs herself forward, and despite being a smaller framed type of filly, she certainly covers a ton of ground. That is her biggest weapon. I like that she's tactical enough. She's going to take some beating, I think, in this year's Kentucky Oaks.
Can't wait to see it, Maggie. Thank you. That'll be a real showdown in the Kentucky Oaks with the likes of Echo Zulu, Kathleen O, some really, really talented fillies in this year's rendition.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing this. And you see Todd's had plenty of success, and that's a who's who right there.
Malathot last year, absolutely sensational for search results. We just saw her come back with a win in her first start of the year. She was a champion. Of course, Rags to Riches, Princess of Silmar Shadow, they need no introduction. Todd Pletcher looking for his 5th win in the Kentucky Oaks with 3 chances.
Yeah, let's not forget about Secret Oath as well. There's going to be
very talented group.
From a wagering point of view, I'm an Echo Zulu guy.
Okay.
I don't think I can remember of a champion coming back and winning and taking as much heat as she has for a win. I mean,
How dare she not win by 10?
How dare she not win by 5 lengths and stamp herself the best 3-year-old filly out there? If you're like me and you're always, I try to be professional, but I'm a gambler. I'm a degenerate. I want to try and get that 4-1. But I've never seen a bandwagon empty. You see them fill up. I mean,
Yeah.
Zandon's bandwagon.
Zandon's bandwagon is overfilled.
We got people
I'm in
standing.
there.
We got people standing on our shoulders. And, people have been there from day one. We have people standing on our shoulders at this point. But that Echo Zulu bandwagon, I got like 60 seats open because I'm driving that thing. I got like 60 seats open, so come on board, everyone.
All right, if you want to get on the bus, you know where to go. There's no better time to join Naira Bets. All of that action, the Kentucky Oaks Kentucky Derby. Play it on Naira Bets. Join today and get a $25 free bet for the Kentucky Derby. New members can also earn up to a $200 deposit bonus using promo code DERBY25. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime, and join now at NairaBets.com to earn that free $25 bet plus a $200 deposit match. We're getting set for the third race at beautiful Belmont Park. We'll be on the main track and talk more about it after this break. There is Todd Pletcher's charge in this third race. More after this.
Run Happy was the #1 second crop sire by graded stakes winners and earnings. A leading dirt sire and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful.
Kicked it into high gear, and Smile Happy with a powerful performance wins by 2.5.
Run Happy continues his rise and is priced for success. Clips champion Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Start spreading the news. If you're looking to win in New York, then breed in New York. To War Dancer, the millionaire son of Warfront, and New York's #1 sire of 3-year-olds. Breed to a proven performer, the #1 second crop sire at the Saratoga meet with multiple winners at Belmont and Aqueduct. Earn double the New York Breeders' Awards and participate in the New York Stallion Series with $2 million in purses. War Dancer, proud to stand in New York. Visit wardancerstud.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.TV today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, brought to you by Naira Bets, where you can bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Get started at NairaBets.com or download the app today. Well, Dylan Davis had 6 wins coming into today's card. He already picked up another victory, and we have an opportunity now to learn a little bit more about where that hunger, that work ethic is meeting that success on the racetrack. Dylan Davis has had a terrific year, and our Richard Migliori got a chance to sit down with him and learn a little bit more about the full story behind the scenes.
You have been riding in such great form, and I think it really started when you came back from being injured early in 2021. Was there any moment during that injury that it kind of clicked, that you knew how you wanted to approach it coming back?
Of course, yeah. Just sitting back for about 2 months, watching all my horses running, got me really frustrated. Before my injury, I felt like maybe I was in a rut, and I had time to think about it when I was sitting on the sidelines. And at that point, I said, I can do this better. I can do it harder, smarter. I just wanted to show that I wasn't scared to come back.
And Vintage Hollywood will win the Kingston under Dylan Davis.
It's incredible to me how much you look like your father on a horse. He was always a good finisher, strong finisher on horses. Is that something that happened by DNA, or have you studied his tapes?
I think it's more of DNA. You only have so many tapes to go by. And now that I've been able to get my own style, I guess it leans towards my father more, but I'm just doing what I feel is comfortable for my body, and I guess it leans towards Dad.
Did you know early on you wanted to be a jockey?
No, I didn't. I enjoyed going to the track, but I never really paid attention to the actual racing aspect. I was just enjoying being a kid. There was a point in my life when I was about 16 or 17 where I was into motocross and dirt biking, and I wanted to actually be professional in that. And I knew it was going to be difficult, but if I put the work into it, I thought I'd be okay. And my father refused that. He said it was too dangerous. There's too many jumps, and you could hurt yourself. And it's funny because I'm in another dangerous sport.
The rider, Dylan Davis, his 4th win today.
What is it like competing with a sibling out on the racetrack? I can't even imagine. I know you have to kind of block that out. Is it anything that ever enters your mind about it?
It doesn't matter if it's my brother-in-law Trevor or Jackie or Katie maybe will make a comeback again. But if they got horse and I got horse, they better get to riding, because I'm going to give it everything I got, because they, just like any other rider, it's just I want to win as much as any of the other ones do, but I just want to beat them, and especially like Jackie or Katie. If I finish second, I want her finishing third. You know, I know if I can't win it, I want them winning it.
Now, last fall, you rode your first Grade 1 winner, Mutamakina, up in Canada in the EP Taylor. You had ridden her in a prep for the race. I think you learned that it's a very long stretch at Woodbine, and maybe you went for home maybe a little early, and I think it really made the difference in winning the Grade 1. You won with both races, but I think a different trip the second time.
Going into the EP Taylor, Christoph reminded me again, listen, I know it's a Grade 1 and you might be excited, but just try to wait on her as much as you can. And I'm looking at the wire and I see it coming, but it's still ways away. And I feel Joelle coming up on my outside, and I just kept her forward, throwing the crosses, and I was so excited that I got there first for a great trainer and to put that away onto my resume.
There's Dylan Davis, as he did get that first career Grade 1 victory aboard Mutamakina, who he became her regular rider and got along with her great. And I'm sure the first of many Grade 1s to come, as he'll be aboard Mr. Fidget in this upcoming 3rd race at Belmont.
Yeah, he is. That injury, this sounds so ridiculous to say. That injury may have been the best thing that ever happened to his career, because he came back more hungry, more aggressive, and most importantly, stronger. I've never seen a rider come back as strong as he has, and he's a great young man, and he's turning into a fantastic rider.
I love getting a chance to interview him and speak to him and hear his insight, too. As we turn the page, we get ready for the opener at Oaklawn Park. We're going 6 furlongs in this maiden, claiming 10th of gold, the 6. Currently the heavy favorite on the drop.
I get that, and he should be the favorite, but he's had a few too many chances for me. I went to the 4 Lake Tahoe, who scratched yesterday at Churchill Downs to run here, 5-2 from my man Ron Moquette. Ricardo Santana Jr. comes aboard, and this horse cut back to a sprint last time. I think sprinting is what he wants to do. I don't love the price at 5-2, but I landed with him.
Ran well last time out. We'll see if he can find the winner's circle today in the opener at Oaklawn Park. Here's track announcer Vic Stauffer with the call.
Freer will be next. Then Glossato. And last to load, Elusive Freud. They're at the post. They're off. Worth the Money and Elusive Freud shows speed. Confess and the Z-Man are close up. Then Looking Good So Far with Freer and Lake Tahoe between horses. 10th of Gold is third last. Then Glossato. And the trailer is Castleberry. Elusive Freud up the backstretch, but now Freer is on the move. And there goes Freer in the center of the racetrack. At the rail goes the Z-Man. These two are a length clear from Lake Tahoe and Worth the Money. Looking Good So Far is 6th with 4 lengths to make up. 3 lengths in front of 10th of Gold, and at the rail goes Confess. 3 lengths further back to Castleberry. Glossato is the trailer, and the leader is Freer, and Freer is getting away. Freer at the top of the stretch, a 2.5 length lead on Elusive Freud and Lake Tahoe. Here's Lake Tahoe into second and 2 from the front. 10th of Gold is 4th now, but has 5 lengths to make up, and Freer is the one to catch in the final furlong. A length and a half in front of Lake Tahoe. Now 10th of Gold is unwinding, and moving. Here's 10th of Gold in the center, trying to run down Freer. Elusive Freud's got a chance at the rail. Freer is the leader. Elusive Freud and 10th of Gold second and third. Freer, Elusive Freud, and Jeremy Alicia. Elusive Freud, Freer, Elusive Freud. I think we just saw Jeremy Alicia win his first career race. It's close. Elusive Freud and Freer hit it together. 10th of Gold was third.
Well, that's exciting. If the number 9, Elusive Freud, did get his nose down in time, the New York bred, in fact, along the rail with apprentice rider Jeremy Alicia, looking for the first victory of his career. The number 5, Freer, with Tiago Pereira, game outside as well. Think the 9 got it?
This got tight. I think he won the bob, but I don't know if the wire was his friend. That's really, really
very
close.
Tight.
I'm going to tell you one thing that I was impressed with this young man. He had his crop in his left hand turning for home. That is a big pet peeve of mine. When young riders have your crop in your left hand turning for home, that was wise beyond his apprenticeship to do that. And it may have gotten him the Duke. This is really, really, really close. At first glance, I thought that Elusive Freud got there. I thought the New York Bred got there, but I don't know on the slow-mo.
The slow-mo makes it tough to see. Freer, however, outside and inside is Elusive Freud. These two making it exciting, as Jeremy Alicia actually rode this horse, Elusive Freud, in his last 2 starts as well. He's only had a couple of races under his belt as an apprentice rider, and I'm sure to get your first win, just the most thrilling feeling. And if it is the case, he will be greeted with that initiation upon returning to the jocks room.
I need to get back in the sulky. Because we were covering the Meadowlands last night here on the program. I never got to win. I never got to win a media race.
Oh, wow.
I drove in like 8 or 9 of them.
As we did hear that the number 9, Elusive Freud, did get the bob. Congratulations to apprentice jockey Jeremy Alicia. So exciting. And I hope we do get a chance to see some of the cameras on him heading back to the jocks room where his fellow riders douse him with buckets of ice cold water and welcoming him to the Winners Club. Back here at Belmont Park, race 3 is our next order of business. Here's the post parade, starting off with the 1. Tough Tickets, short price on this one.
Voided claim off a year-plus layoff last time when he was 3rd. Looks to be the speed under the hot riding apprentice, Jose Gomez.
Here's the 2, Fotis.
He's had an awful lot of chances, just 1 for 45 with 3 thirds in his career. Longest shot on the board, and he should be.
Here is the number 3 next, Noble Journey, dropping class for Jimmy Jerkins.
Best work has been done on the main track over off-going. We'll see if he can improve on a fast track.
We saw the piece about Dylan Davis. Here's his mount, Mr. Fidget.
Blinkers go back on, 1 for 33 in his career. We'll see if the second time for Bruce Levine helps his cause. Bruce's barn starting to heat up.
Yeah. Here's a 6, Red Revolution. 4 horses, 6-1 right now on the board.
Yeah, Rob Falcone's barn started off the year good, kind of leveled out. Horse is starting to heat up again. He drops down.
Excuse me, that was the 5. Here's the 6, Actuary.
Blinkers go back on. They keep flip-flopping surfaces with him. It looks like Mike McSally's just trying to find his way with Actuary right now.
And here's the 7, Don't Be Late.
Yeah, Dave Donk's horses have started to run. This horse comes in off a 3rd-place finish against a touch higher competition. And we'll see if he can keep the positive momentum going for the Donk barn.
16,000 non-winners of 2 in life. Tough Tickets off that voided claim. Gets another drop in class today. Maggie, do you trust this colt in here?
No, I don't. I mean, I did not like him whatsoever coming back off the layoff, Acacia. But in retrospect, he actually ran okay that day. Considering I don't think you wanted to be down on the rail, he was down on the rail and battling the whole way, in which he put away the horse that was pressuring him. He just got run down by 2 horses that spent the time at the back while rallying wide. So I can't hold it against him, but yes, that claim voided back on March 20th, drops down again here. He's moving fine out in the racetrack. If anything, his coat looks better, but he's just so quiet. And look, I don't mind the stretch out in distance, and as I've always said, if a horse is trying a longer distance for the first time, there's no other trainer that I want more than Todd Pletcher in my corner. But I just can't trust him. I mean, that's the thing, and I do think he gets a little bit of pressure to boot on the front end. I ultimately went to Mr. Fidget just to, I mean, look, he's 1 for 33. But just trying to get a little price in here, and one that might benefit from things getting softened up, possibly up front. Last time beaten by repeat winner Mr. Winston, who did take advantage of 2 tracks that played in the hands of having some early speed, in which Mr. Fidget does not. Does add blinkers again today, just a kind of a bigger cheater cut. Looks incredibly healthy, second off the Bruce Levine claim. Number 5, Red Revolution, is the first time he'll step foot or race on a fast track, and maybe he's a horse that could move up greatly with a fast track. His 179, which he broke his maiden, makes him legitimate player, but he has not been able to recreate that on either side. And the maiden 20 he beat, those are some desperate horses. Straight 3-year-old maiden 20, that's kind of the bottom of the barrel. But I will say he's a horse that's kind of struggled to keep his weight and his coat looking good, and he's kind of turning the right way. So I do appreciate that. And Kendrick got him into the bridle. He kind of took a little bit of time to warm up, but I like that, and I think he sits that outside stalking trip outside of Tough Tickets, guys.
Maggie, thank you. Tough Tickets, 4 to 5. Both Anthony and Maggie going to an alternative. We heard Maggie's thoughts on Red Revolution, who you landed on, Anthony, as potentially an outsider dropping back down to a level that perhaps suits him better.
I did not trust Tough Tickets. I feel like the Ralph Falcone horses, after going through a little bit of a lull, are starting to warm up again. And I want the horse that's going to be closest to Tough Tickets. And that will be, or should be, Red Revolution.
Here's Tough Tickets' last race, as Maggie was alluding to, set the pace and ended up finishing 3rd this day. It's tough because it was a big layoff. He was the favorite that afternoon. The claim was voided for $25,000. Now he drops again. Todd Pletcher does seem to win with the aggressive drop downs. It just kind of feels like he should have won last time.
Right. And here's what the bigger problem is. He goes from 7 furlongs to a 1 1/16 here at Belmont. That's a 4.5 furlong run to the only turn, to the far turn. He already looks to me to be a little bit, he's not a runoff, but he saw daylight the other day. I mean, it was his first start, 13.5 months, and I understand all that, but from the rail with Jose Gomez, who's as aggressive a rider as we have in the room right now, he is going to be on the front end today. And to carry your speed that far on this track for a horse that obviously has a bunch of questions to answer. At 4 to 5, that's just not something I'm interested in. I put him second. I think Red Revolution sits off him, stalks him, and gobbles him up.
Maggie going to Mr. Fidget, a horse that will be closing, but does put the blinkers back on. Wonder if that could maybe make him engage and be a little bit more into the game.
Maybe. I just don't think he's fast. He's certainly not fast enough to keep up with Tough Tickets early. And I think Red Revolution possesses enough tactical speed to just have a clear edge over the rest of the game. I mean, Fotis doesn't have any speed. Mr. Fidget really doesn't. Actuary, don't be late. These are horses that are just void of early speed. So I would imagine this lines up 1-5, and we'll see if Red Revolution is good enough or if Tough Tickets needed the race off the 13.5 months and can get the job done.
Actuary acting up a little bit behind the starting gate. Eric Cancel in the saddle as the assistant starter takes hold of him. We'll get ready for the 3rd race at Belmont Park. Non-winners of 2 in life. Tough Tickets, the favorite. Can we trust him? We'll soon find out. Here's John and Brielle standing by with the rest of the load and call.
Waiting for Actuary. And don't be late. There in the gate. And the rough. Don't be late from the outside. Tough Tickets from the inside. And those two are heads apart for the early lead. And then they are split by Noble Journey. It is Don't Be Late with the lead. And Noble Journey has moved into 2nd. And then on the inside, it is Tough Tickets, who is racing in 3rd. Moving up now is Fotis from 4th. On the outside is Actuary. It's 4 lengths back to Mr. Fidget, and another huge break back to a Red Revolution, who trails the field in 7th. The quarter went in 23-3. Up front, Noble Journey and Don't Be Late. They're heads apart for the lead. Fotis sits just off them in third. Tough Tickets, the favorite, is down on the inside and in fourth, almost 5 lengths from the front. Alongside is Actuary. Then comes the gray, Mr. Fidget, and way back is Red Revolution. Half mile in 46 4/5 seconds. Don't Be Late on the outside with a head in front of a Noble Journey. Now Tough Tickets gets in gear here and is moving up on the outside. Mr. Fidget is closing some ground as they come for the top of the stretch. 3/4, 1:11-4. Tough Tickets makes his move to the lead now. Tough Tickets on the outside of Don't Be Late as Noble Journey drops back in third. Then Mr. Fidget. Red Revolution has come alive here, but now there's just 1/8 of a mile to the finish. It's Tough Tickets on the outside and Don't Be Late on the inside. Don't Be Late, a tough customer for Tough Tickets. Red Revolution is in third as they come down for the finish. Don't Be Late, Tough Tickets, Red Revolution, photo finish. A photo finish between Don't Be Late and Tough Tickets and the late closing Red Revolution.
Kendrick Motion, Red Revolution made it exciting at the end, closing from out of it. But what a performance from the 7, Don't Be Late. I don't know if he got the bob, Anthony, but he would not let Tough Tickets go by after Don't Be Late in a surprising turning event was the one to set the pace.
Unexpectedly on the lead, Tough Tickets was taken off the pace today and was taken off the pace today.
Yeah.
He wasn't outrun early. They made that decision. Don't Be Late and Louis Cardenas, who won a couple of races last week on closing day at Aqueduct. I think he held. This is really, really tight occasion. It got close at the end. The story's Red Revolution, who he was in Garden City turning for home, and he's going to wind up getting third. The wire comes up. Wow, I don't know.
The 1 might have got the bob. No, the 7, Don't Be Late. He held on.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's very tight.
It's up. It's 7-1-5.
Yeah, 7-1-5.
He lost the. Tough Tickets put his head down at one point and got in front of him.
Yeah.
But the wire came at a perfect time, and Don't Be Late, who honestly, 46-4,
He ran a huge
111-4.
race.
He didn't deserve to lose this race. This is justice. This photo is really justice. I'm sorry to say that if you had the 4-5 favorite, but the way Don't Be Late ran today, he deserved to win this photo.
He certainly did. Louis Cardenas and Don't Be Late. He was aggressive with this horse. A very tough customer holding off Tough Tickets, your heavy favorite. 13-1 was Don't Be Late, and something that you had mentioned going into this race, as we saw a Rob Falcone runner with the 5 in Red Revolution closing late. Dave Donkserner, Don't Be Late, who was able to hold on. These are barns that have really been picking up, and that's important to watch on the circuit.
Yeah, Dave Donk and Louis Cardenas teamed up to win 2 at Aqueduct last Sunday. Like I said, Rob Falcone's horse, there he is, Dave. I wonder if he wears that Jets hat into the shower with him.
I've never seen him without it.
Never
it
off.
looks pretty clean, so I
Never
don't think
off.
we could judge.
Maybe it's in the shower. He gets washed every day. He's the greatest. I love Dave.
He is.
Dave's been on this circuit and a regular on this circuit for 30 years. And he's always smiling. He's always great with his time. You know, we've both held various jobs in the sport on the media end of things. I don't know if he ever said no to you. He never said no to me.
Not once.
So, no, he's unbelievable, and he's a great ambassador for the game, and it's always good to see his barn doing well.
I've told this story a couple times before, but a couple years ago in 2020, when we unfortunately couldn't have fans at Saratoga, and we were hoping to get interviews, and sometimes there wasn't anybody there to talk to. And Dave Donk would always do an interview, and he would see me coming, and he'd say, "Don't worry, Acacia, I've got time for you." He was basically a production assistant for Saratoga Live that year. Just a terrific guy, and happy to see him win. And Louis Cardenas, too, who unfortunately got hurt at a really pivotal moment and wasn't able to kind of carry on that transition from apprentice to journeyman rider as easily.
Good riders, good on horseback. That kid could be okay.
Well, we'll bring you the prices in a bit, but speaking of somebody that's good on horseback, Flavien Prat, as he'll be riding in New York this year, riding a lot for Chad Brown, and he's riding for Chad coming up in the next race.
Whether it's Division I or Grade I, top athletes have certain traits in common. Speed, strength, class, versatility, and most of all, willpower. Claiborne Farm Stallion, War of Will, was a Grade 1 winner on both dirt and turf. Now, his first foals are taking the field.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. Acacia Clement and Anthony Stabile and Maggie Wolfendale. So happy to have you with us as we just saw an absolute throwdown in the third at Belmont Park. The number 7, Don't Be Late, able to hold on as we take a look at the Run Happy photo finish. And whew, that's tight.
We're a head away from a triple dead heat right there,
Yeah.
right? Look at that.
We are.
You know which one I had, right?
Yeah,
the third
the
one.
5.
I always have the third one.
When he starts snapping coming down to the wire, that's when you know. $28 winner, Don't Be Late, with Louis Cardenas over the 3-5 favorite. Tough tickets. And these two very, very game. Taking a look at what's coming up next. The 4th race, a mile and a 16th on the turf in this maiden special weight. And currently a pretty wide open field, too, as the number 2 Contemporary Art is 5-2. One of 2 first-time starters for Chad Brown. The other one, though, Salabaya, is a filly by Medaglia d'Oro and will be ridden by jockey Flavian Pratt, who is taking his tack here to New York this season. Begins riding full-time today and will be riding first call for Chad Brown.
Yeah, we're going to see it's a little bit of a transition. Not used to seeing Ortiz next to that Chad Brown name, and whether it's Arad or Jose, and Flavian Pratt going to come in. You see him there aboard Domestic Spending in the Manhattan last year, and that transition started a little bit last year, and we're going to see Pratt here first time on a regular basis, right? We've seen him come in on a handful of occasions and win some races, and now he's going to come in. Originally, it was going to be the first 2 finishers from the California standings, him and Umberto Rispoli. Rispoli decided to switch his gear to Kentucky. Flavian Pratt going to come here, and like you said, Chad Brown. If you can get the support of Chad Brown, I have a feeling that others are going to follow.
But a very, very talented rider as well. A finalist for the Eclipse Award champion jockey last year. And earlier today, our Maggie Wolfendale got a chance to catch up with Flavian before his first mount back here in New York.
Pleased to be joined here by Flavian Pratt, who first day riding, well, this year in New York. We saw you with so much success when you did ship in to ride. Flavian, talk about the decision to come here and ride more full-time.
Well, like you say, I came a few times last year. It went pretty well. I felt like I could have some support, in moving here, so I decided to make a move.
And you've moved your family too, and how's everybody adjusting?
Yeah, I moved the family. We actually moved right before Kinland, so family is adjusting. I think everybody's doing well so far, so I'm pretty happy.
You have the support of Chad Brown, who is perennially one of the leading trainers here in New York. How much did that weigh in on the decision to come eastward?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, last year we had a great year. It felt like I could have some support from Chad Brown and different trainer as well. So I decided, I thought it was time to make a move. It's a new challenge. We're gonna work hard and try. I think it was just the right time for me, on a personal note as well, because I've got a family. Kids are pretty young, so it was right now, or otherwise it would be too late.
Well, I'm sure you would like to put your name in the hat for that Eclipse Award as well. But speaking of Chad Brown, you'll be riding in the Derby for him aboard Zandon. You won a Kentucky Derby, though, via DQ. But how good would it feel to cross the wire first this time?
It would feel great. I think Zandon has a great chance. I think he definitely has the potential to win the race. It's just a matter of having a good trip. His running style is... I don't know if it really fits Churchill down lately, but I've got full confidence in him. I think the talent is there, and we'll see what we draw. But I think it will be really important to draw a good gate, and hopefully we can get a good run.
Well, Flavien, thank you so much for your time, and a pleasure to have you here in New York.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, guys. Maggie, thank you, and good to see Flavien Prat riding here. He will make a very deep jockey colony even stronger and more competitive in New York.
Yeah, it's the deepest in the world, if you will, and he brings a different kind of style and not as aggressive as some of the other riders that we have here on the circuit, and a little bit more of a patient rider, and we'll see if that style can translate into New York success.
We certainly will see. As Maggie mentioned, he did win the Kentucky Derby via DQ on Country House. He did win the Preakness last year aboard Rombauer, and he looks to cross the wire first in this year's Kentucky Derby with Zandon, who I think this horse will likely be the post-time favorite. I'm not sure what they'll do with the morning line between him and Epicenter, but this Bluegrass was really a sensational performance knifing through traffic.
Yeah, and Prat gave this horse a flawless ride because he finds a little bit of he got to alter course a little bit right here, but he never lost his forward progress. And that's so important because, these deep closers, the one thing they need to do is they need to keep moving forward, because more often than not, it takes them a little while to get the motor going again. And if he loses momentum, I know he won this race by almost 3 lengths, but if he loses that momentum, I don't know if he gets to the winner's circle. I don't know if he gets to the wire first. So, it's important to do that. It's a lot different doing it in a 20-horse field at Churchill Downs on the first Saturday in May than it is at Keeneland 4 weeks before the first Saturday in May against a field of 10 or 11. So he's going to need more luck than some of the other horses will, just because of his running style.
And I think it's interesting, Maggie brought up a really interesting point the other day too. He was more forward in the Remsen, and the draw, whatever post he comes from, as Flavien alluded to, will really be intriguing. But there is the first mount back for Flavien Prat. Salubaya, first-time starter for Shadwell and Chad Brown. More in this filly and the rest of the field after this.
Campaign by 2, and Global Campaign will win the Grade 1 Woodward.
It is Global Campaign holding on to the lead. Global Campaign won the Peter Pan.
How does horse racing support New York's economy? It's responsible for 19,000 jobs and more than $3 billion in annual statewide economic impact. These good-paying jobs support working families across the state and sustain thousands of small businesses both on and off the track. Horse racing in New York means jobs and opportunities now and in the future. We are New York Horse Racing.
The Fasig-Tipton Mid-Atlantic 2-year-olds in training sale, showcasing more than 600 juveniles, all on a dirt racetrack. Recent Grade 1 winners include Beyond Brilliant, Gamine, Gut Stormy, and Switzerland. Graded stakes winners Informative and Morello, plus stakes winners from coast to coast. Among the nation's top juvenile sales by Grade 1 wins. Join us after the Preakness, May 23rd and 24th in Timonium, Maryland. Where will you be?
We're back on America's Day at the Races, brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Taking a look at the field for the 4th race at beautiful Belmont Park, and it's a good one. Very intrigued by this maiden special weight on the turf. 2 first-time starters for Chad Brown. For more on this field, let's get a paddock report from Maggie.
Acacia, I'm saving the 2 Chad Brown runners for out front when I went to show their workouts on XBTV, and I'll have a little more time to talk about them. But let's take a look at some of the logical players that have races, and that includes number 5 in here, Mose, who has reigned off in both of her Gulfstream Park efforts and ran respectably, though, on the synthetic. And, you know, I often watch those races, and I see they're a little bit more dominated forwardly, and not that she was or devoid of speed, but it just seemed as though the horses that were in front of her finished in front of her. She's very laid back here. Would love to see maybe a touch more energy, but she looks like a turf horse. She is a turf horse, so I'm excited to see her back on this surface. Now as a 4-year-old, she's done well. She looks incredibly fit, dappled head to toe, but again, would love to see a little bit more pep in her step. Moving on to number 9, Miss Bonnie T. She's been a little frustrating, I'm sure, for her connections. The problem with her, though, is she hasn't really done much from 3 to 4. And while she comes back here looking fit, despite having the layoff as Dave Donk looks to go back-to-back here, there hasn't been any physical change whatsoever. Now, mentally, there's been a change. She's a lot more settled than what I've seen from her in the past. So we'll see if she has her typical forward placement in this mile and a 16th race. Another first-time starter is number 10, Canisi, for Christophe Clement, daughter of Point of Entry and a half-sister to Karatari, who's a multiple stakes winning sprinter. Now, the half-sister did win on the turf and has been a productive family to boot. But yeah, I think a mile and a 16th is A-okay for her. She doesn't strike me as a sprinter whatsoever. I mean, talk about one being quiet. She's practically asleep here, but does come in here fit. I prefer her 3rd to the other 2 first-time starters from the Chad Brown barn, guys.
Maggie, thank you. Canisi currently 12-1 as there is a look at the jockeys coming out to the paddock to get ready for this 4th race. Kendra Carmouche meeting up with trainer Horacio De Paz as they have Mrs. Maisel trying the turf for the first time. Back at Oaklawn Park, we get ready for the 2nd race on the program there. 6 furlongs in this starter allowance for fillies and mares. 5-2 currently on the number 7, Chakra, first off the claim, who did have a nice victory last time out and does have speed.
Yeah, she's first off. There's a lot of horses first off the claim here. I want the 9, Summer Storm, first off the claim for Chris Hartman, who's won at a gigantic percentage and great numbers off the claim. Gets Francisco Arrieta aboard. I'll take the 9, Summer Storm at the same 5-2 price.
They start to load into the gate for the 2nd race at Oaklawn Park, and we will send it up to track announcer Vic Stauffer with the rest of the load and call.
Deep Gila and Lovely Lady Lexi. My Boss Lady and Summer Storm. Last to load, Invaluable. They're at the post. They're off. Lovely Lady Lexi, Chakra, and Invaluable shows speed. Summer Storm and Big Bass are next. Then comes Diva Tequila and Way Too Smart, followed by Flashy Biz, and the trailer is My Boss Lady. 3 across the track, Chakra, Lovely Lady Lexi, and a 3 wide Invaluable. These 3 right across the racetrack. Summer Storm is tracking just in behind those 3 and 2 from the front, with Big Bass at the rail, 2.5 off the lead. 3 back to My Boss Lady, and Flashy Biz. And then 6 lengths to Way Too Smart. And now the trailer is Diva Tequila, and the leader is still Chakra. Chakra just in front of Lovely Lady Lexi and Invaluable. Now Summer Storm's on the move, 4 deep, and there goes Summer Storm up to a joint second. 2 lengths to My Boss Lady. Big Base drops back. Flashy Biz is next, and Way Too Smart. Chakra, the one to catch. Chakra cuts the corner and leads. She's got a 2-length advantage on Summer Storm in second. Invaluable is between horses third. These 3 to the final furlong. Chakra in front. Invaluable has taken over second. Summer Storm no better than third. Chakra and Invaluable. It's down to these 2, and it might just be one. Chakra and Invaluable. It is Chakra in front. Chakra beat Invaluable a half length. Summer Storm was third. Way Too Smart finished fourth.
First off the claim and into the winner's circle, Chakra makes it 2 victories in a row. First time for Alan Milligan and Luis Quinones.
Put the blinkers on off a win for Steve Asmussen, and it worked. Luis Quinones gave this filly a very good ride by being aggressive in a race that looked like it had some peripheral speed. He was the speed of the speed with her. He put her on the front end, and he was assertive and aggressive, and he got the job done by 3 parts of a length.
Back at Belmont, we have this good maiden special weight coming up next. There's a look at some fans on the track here, which we love to see. Kicking off the post parade with the first-time turf runner, Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah, Kendra Carmouche aboard this daughter of Practical Joke is going to try turf for the first time. She's going to need a little bit of an improvement from her dirt form. She's a big price.
Some turf pedigree in the bottom side. Practical Joke, however, does not have good numbers with turf runners, which surprised me, too. Here's the 2 Contemporary Art.
It's actually the 3, Siempre Elegante. No problem. Blinkers go on, little A. This horse gets back to the turf for the first time since the debut in South Florida, where she took a little money at 14 to 1.
And the 2 will come out last in the post parade. Here's the 4 Rambique.
Another horse getting back to the turf after a couple of dirt races, 1 in December, 1 after the winter break in April. She ran well with the blinkers on last time. Let's see if she can do it on the grass.
Here's Mosé back to the turf.
Back to the turf for the first time since her 3-year-old season. A couple of off-the-turf, all-weather performances at Gulfstream Park. She's the runner taking the most money.
Scratch the 6, main track only. Here is another first-time starter, this one for Michelle Nevin, Queen Quist.
Yeah, Michelle Nevin, excellent trainer, not great first-time out, certainly not that good first-time turf either. This horse will probably need a race.
We'll look for her moving forward. Here's Flavian Pratt's mount, Salabaya.
Yeah, it's funny. The one Pratt rides first time is not the one taking the money from the Chad Brown barn. This horse had to work at Palm Meadows as recently as last Sunday on the van and up here to run today.
Here's the 9, Miss Bonnie T, most experienced of the field.
Dave Donk and Louis Cardenas look to go back-to-back. She has some speed. She has a lot of second-place finishes, 4 seconds and 2/3 from 10 starts.
And here is the number 10, another first-time starter, Kanisi.
Yeah. Maggie spoke about her pedigree, half the Karatari, who's a turf sprinter. Work tab and top part of this pedigree lead me to believe she's going to want a little bit more ground, not less.
And here is that other first-time starter, the number 2, Contemporary Art.
Yes, 8-5 favorite currently. Arad Ortiz Jr. aboard for Bobby Flay and Chad Brown. This horse had a nice work tab as well over at Palm Meadows. Both of these fillies making their debut relatively soon after getting off the van from South Florida.
Yeah, shipping right up as you do have the opportunity to train over the Palm Meadows turf course down in Florida, which is what both of these have been doing, at least not recently, together. I know Maggie will talk more about the works in a little bit, but Contemporary Art, Philly by Dubawi. Bobby Flay bought the mare for $1.6 million, and then she actually RNA'd in foal for $3.9 million when in foal to Dubawi. She herself has a big pedigree cover song, and this is her first foal to race at Philly by Dubawi. So certainly makes things interesting with this strong pedigree.
Yeah. She looked really good on the racetrack as well. We'll let Maggie talk about those works. Here's Mosé. Now, of the fillies who have run so far in here, she is clearly the one the public wants, and she's clearly the one I would want in here. I know Miss Bonnie T has run some good races, but this filly's races in her 3-year-old season last year, if she can improve a little bit, she ran against a couple of decent fillies. She could be really tough today if one of the 2 Chad Brown firsters don't fire.
And Maggie is right that this race on Tapeta, the winner, Sonora, wired the field. It had actually shifted later in the meet. For the majority of the winter meet, it was one run outside closers, that inside-out trip that you wanted on the Tapeta. And it shifted. It became more of a fair racetrack. It kind of played more like a slow turf course in that it was a little bit tiring sometimes for runners.
I noticed as the weather got warmer, the speed seemed to do a little bit better.
It did.
Yeah.
As the weather got hotter, and unfortunately I didn't see her. I was on my honeymoon that day. But Mose, who will get back to the turf today. But for more, as promised, on these first-time starters, let's go back to Maggie trackside.
Taking a look at Contemporary Art, she was brought out last. I think it's because she was a little bit, she wasn't bad in the paddock. I think it's just her in that she's a little bit of a headstrong individual. She kind of got fairly strong too with Arad when warming up, as we actually see her stablemate being the naughty one out on the racetrack. But let's take a look at her work back on April 17th. This is Around the Dogs. She's with a horse by the name the L Train, who is yet to start. But watch her on the inside here. Obviously, rider Fool has a handful, and the rider on the L Train, who, yes, we don't know the quality of yet, but a nicely bred filly, is niggling at her. Now, when they hit the wire here, we're going to see this Daughter of Dabawi just extend that margin between the two of them, and she's just your typical Dabawi, but actually one of the more fit-looking Dabawis, because his progeny seem to carry quite a bit of weight, a lot of times, quite a bit of weight around their barrel, and she kind of has that frame, but she is fine-tuned, and she just has that bit of race filly or mare sassiness to her, kind of swishing her tail, and she kind of wants to be a little bit sassy with the pony too. She looks like the one that is the most ready first time out, and the one most suited to the mile and a 16th, whereas as we'll take a look at number 8 in here, that is Salabaya, 1.6 million. She's kind of your typical Medaglia d'Oro. Long, sinewy, rangy filly, is very even in her frame. So almost feels as though she wants to go a little bit longer than this, and some of the pedigree on the bottom side would suggest that, as well, as she is half to a multiple stakes winner in Ireland, who placed in some group stakes. But this is down on the rail, so not around the dogs, and she's down on the inside as well. She's with the filly by the name Laid the Groundwork, who did win on the synthetic, but she's going to get the best of this experienced rival in this workout, and she stays well in hand. Obviously a little bit easier to go around the rails and get a quicker time than opposed to the dogs, so the 48 and change that we saw from Contemporary Art, probably a little bit better than the minute and 3/5 on the rail for this one back on April 24th. But she comes in here fit. She's very classy acting, has that very elegant frame to her. It just, like I said, feels like Contemporary Art might be a little bit more ready to fire first time out at this distance, Acacia.
Maggie, thank you. Intriguing first-time starters, as the public agrees. Contemporary Art, the one who looks ready at 8-5 currently. We had that nice carryover in the pick 6, and the sequence does start here, and already a big pool growing with the great opportunity to wager. And it is interesting. It's tough sometimes when you have a maiden special weight to start a multi-race sequence, but you can also at the same time see how the board is playing.
Yes, you can let the tote board be your guide a little bit here. Now, I'm a little surprised that the Chad Brown firsters aren't the first and second choices. But I guess Mose's races were good enough, not only on turf, but the 2 races on the Tapeta.
Blue Times wired the field back in December on her last turf start.
Yeah. So I guess the fact that Salabaya is a little quiet on the board, to me at 7-2, is a little intriguing. There is Bobby. I used to coach basketball against him in Basketball City in Manhattan. When I was at the New York, yeah, he had Mesa Grill. I had the New York Post. I think I was 3-0 against him.
I did not know
coaching
that. That's
basketball.
cool.
Yeah. So Contemporary Art for me, I would if I was playing the pick 6, I would probably use all 3. Just because of the money Mose is taking and the lack of money Salabaya is taking right now. Because I do believe, even though she's the 3rd choice, that's not enough money for me to think she's as live as her stablemate.
Maggie bringing up some interesting points with Salabaya that potentially she wants even more ground than what she's going to get here today. Could just be a starting point. Contemporary Art, meanwhile, the second dam, multiple Group 1 winner. Misty for me, trained by Aiden O'Brien and Bobby Flay. We've seen Pizza Bianca, a perfect example of a mare, well-bred in Europe, that he purchased and has that European pedigree, bred those horses, coming here to the U.S. and obviously a terrific fan of the game, Bobby, but cool to see how he's been so successful in breeding horses as well.
Yeah. It's great to see people from all walks of life enjoy the greatest sport played outdoors. No question about it. And he has had a lot of success in really a relatively short amount of time. Right? You think about some of the big owners and some of the big stables. You know, he's built himself a pretty nice broodmare band.
Yeah, very.
Right? All aspects of the game. And that's important because that shows an investment, not only in your time, but obviously financially. So it's a good thing.
Got his binoculars out and take a good look at his filly, Contemporary Art, as we have a couple of others that are intriguing in this spot.
You know what I found a little bit interesting about her? You look at her pedigree. She's a Kentucky bred.
Yeah. He brought, well, the mare, again, he purchased her, and she was bred here in the States.
Yeah, but it's just, to me, you know, you see the whole pedigree. You see the Australia. She's by Fastnet Rock, who's an Aussie bred. And then you see, you know, Dubawi. You don't see too many Dubawi Kentucky bred.
No, that's true. Very, very true. As Dubawi, as Maggie mentioned, just an absolutely sensational sire. A couple of other interesting runners in here. Miss Bonnie T. She's had a lot of chances, and Maggie mentioned maybe not so much of a physical progression, but there was a mental progression. She has speed. Dave Donk and Louis Cardenas shake things up again?
I would imagine with her coming off the November layoff, so we're looking at just about 6 months, week shy of 6 months, that she's going to be aggressively handled today. This is a filly who's been forward in most of her races. At the very least, she's been forward in her successful races. Now, she's never won, obviously. She's a maiden race. But her best efforts and her best finishes have come when she was engaged early on. I would imagine she'll naturally, when these horses don't see a starting gate for 5-6 months, they come back a little fresher. It's something they haven't done in a while, right? They enjoy what they do for the most part, horses. So she'll get in the gate for the first time in 5 or 6 months, and she'll probably be a little bit more anxious and ambitious than she would if she had a start or two under her belt. So I would imagine she's forward. And quite frankly, there's not really a lot of early speed signed on in here unless one of the firsters has some speed. And there's 2 Chad Browns.
Floating into the gate, the number 4, Rombeek, giving them a little bit of a tough time, but will load without the rider. She's in now, though.
And loaded first.
Yes.
I think that's worth noting as well as John Samuel climbs aboard. Yeah, so you got Chad Brown firsters and Michelle Nevin firster, Christophe Clement firster. These are trainers that aren't ordinarily known for having their firsters fast. So maybe she can take advantage of Miss Bonnie T and just lead them on a merry chase like Bar 14 did.
The 3 Siempre Elegante, a little interesting as well. As you mentioned, she did take money in her first start on turf. There was a horse that broke through the gate that day, and she's one that got really anxious as a result of that and broke slowly. Let's see with blinkers on if she breaks faster today. They are just about all in. We'll send it up to track announcer John Imbrial for the call. Race 4 at Belmont Park and the start of today's Pick 6. Hope you're playing. If you are, best of luck.
They're all in line. And the rough has it in start for number 7, Queen Quist, and she trails. From the outside, Miss Bonnie T is going out for the early lead. It is Miss Bonnie T in front with Mosey racing in second. Salabaya and Contemporary Art are right together. Third and fourth. Rombeek is in between horses in fifth. Oh, Mrs. Maisel down on the inside runs in sixth. As the field has straightened away and moving up the backstretch. On the outside is Canisi. Farther back in the field, Siempre Elegante and the slow starting Queen Quist, the quarter 24 seconds. Miss Bonnie T, the leader here, by a length, with Mosey running in second. And the favored firster, Contemporary Art, down at the rail in third by a half length. Salabaya's on the outside, next and fourth. Oh, Mrs. Maisel in fifth. Then comes Canisi and Rombeek, Siempre Elegante, and Queen Quist continues to trail. Half mile in 49 and 3. Miss Bonnie T leads here by a length and a half. Mosey running in second. Contemporary Art down towards the rail in third with Salabayer on the outside. Then Canisi and Mrs. Maisel. They're all chasing Miss Bonnie T, who will take the field to the top of the stretch. Miss Bonnie T in front. Mosey is getting closer. Salabayer moves up on the outside. Contemporary Art is going to need some racing room. Then Canisi, 3/4 in 1:13 and 4. They're in the stretch. Here comes Salabayer on the outside. Miss Bonnie T, room now for Contemporary Art, and she's coming on through. Mosey is there. Far outside it is Canisi as they move for the 16th pole. It is Contemporary Art. Here's Canisi driving up on the outside. Contemporary Art and Canisi. Canisi by a head. First time starter gets the job done at a big price, 15-1 as we start the pick six.
Canisi, the first-time starter with a big pedigree, filly by point of entry. Maybe the half-brother is a sprinter, but she clearly relished going a distance of ground.
This was a good ride by Javier Castellano here. He was patient with her. She wasn't fighting him, but she was kind of ready to roll. And he waited and waited and waited. He didn't want to have to go 4 or 5 wide on the turn. So he just kind of drafted in behind Salabaya, and he produced her when the real running began. Contemporary Art was bottled up most of the way. She had to wait for the hole to open. In fact, Salabaya was the one that kind of kept her in most of the way. The hole opened, she exploded through there. She didn't kick like you probably would have hoped for her to, and the filly that had the clean path, Canisi, gets the job done.
With a big effort on debut under Javier Castellano. Christophe Clement 2 for 2 so far today. Could be a good omen leading into later with 2 chances in the stake.
A couple of big favorites coming up too, with Soldier Rising coming up in the next heat, and then of course later on Too Sexy and Miss J. McKay. Yeah, it could be he could be looking at a grand slam this afternoon, Mr. Clement.
We'll see what happens, but big efforts. First-time starters run 1, 2, 3 as we do see Canisi, the daughter of Point of Entry, winning on debut under Hall of Fame rider Javier Castellano. We've talked about this quite a bit, especially when he won the first 4 races of the day a couple weeks ago at Aqueduct. We've really seen kind of a renaissance of his career, and he's riding in a tremendous groove right now.
Yeah, he's really had a little bit of a renaissance here. And he's getting live horses, and he's doing well with them. There's nothing else really to say. The guy's in the Hall of Fame. He's won thousands of races, and he's really rounding back into form. There was a little time where he seemed to be tailing off a little bit, but he seemed to be rounding back into form. And Richie says this all the time. It's horse racing, not jockey racing, right? And he's been getting some better mounts lately.
And love to see too. Naira Chairman Mark Holliday's Blue Devil Racing Stable gets the win here. Canisi on debut, filly by Point of Entry. She was a nice price too, I believe, as there is an inquiry on 3rd and 4th inquiry and objection. We'll keep you posted on what's going on there, but we'll bring you prices in a bit and more live racing after this on America's Day at the Races.
Speightstown. Munning. Echo Town.
It's Echo Town for Joe Talamo, and Echo Town raced away.
And Echo Town is drawing away in the stretch. Echo Town wins the Alan Turkin Stakes.
A sire line so prolific, it repeats itself. Echo Town.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races, brought to you by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. 3 first-time starters in the top 3 in this 4th race at Belmont. This looks like it could be a very live race moving forward. But the winner, Canisi, outside for Mark Holliday's Blue Devil Racing Stable, and he's standing by with Maggie in the paddock.
Yeah, question. Here with owner Mark Holliday of Blue Devil Racing and Mark Canisi. She was impressive, and I could tell the excitement that you're experiencing here as she gets the upset victory over what looks to be a promising field.
Yeah, this race came up much tougher than we expected for her debut, and drawing the outside gave us a little bit of pause, but I got to tell you, Christoph did a great job getting this filly ready. We've been long anticipating this day, and Javi gave her a usual great ride, and it was a wonderful race for the filly.
And it never gets old. You've experienced a lot of excitement in this game, having won graded stakes, but I can tell that this feeling just never wears away.
You know what? It's always exciting, first of all, to be at Belmont on this beautiful day. A lot of fans out here today, and every new debut horse like that, when you see her run a race like that, you can't help but be excited.
It truly is. It's all about the future. You can't help but dream a bit. And speaking of dreaming, you are the chairman of the board for NYRA. There's a lot of stuff going on as far as the redevelopment, especially here with the addition of the UBS Arena and what we're trying to do to try to kind of marry it all together into a big entertainment experience. Can you talk about that?
Sure. We've been working really hard at NYRA and as a board trying to really come up with what I feel should be a world-class facility, should be right here at Belmont Park. No place can handle it better than New York, and we deserve it. It's been a long time, and we are very close to working out a deal with the state for some bond authorization that would let us reimagine and recreate this into a premier racing facility. So everybody, sort of get behind it, support it, because Belmont needs it, and it's going to be fantastic.
I hope they do, because I can't wait. It's such a special place to begin with, and to revamp it and make it that much more special. I have to thank you for the hard work that you put in.
Thank you so much, and it's great, and thanks for everything, and hope to see you again, if not before, on Belmont Day.
I love it. Well, Mark, congratulations. Canisi getting the job done in an exciting way here for Christophe Clement, who, Acacia, goes 2 for 2 on the card.
Been a good day so far, Maggie, and a $33.80 winner. You typically don't see that for a Christophe Clement trainee, but you had 2 heavy favorites for Chad Brown, both of whom ran well, and you'd imagine, Anthony, big futures for the top 3 fillies here.
Yeah, it was a really nice race. These horses all ran really well. Even Salabaya, who was 3rd in the blanket, if you will, was kind of wide around there. So, yeah. Should be a key race going forward.
It was a nice pool, $460,000. If you were locked in playing the pick 6, it was a big price to start the sequence. I heard some cheers downstairs. Hopefully that was some pick 6 players that needed a big price in the first leg. Meanwhile, trainer Christophe Clement, he's far from done yet, has 2 coming up in this 5th race, 1.25 miles on the inner turf. Soldier Rising currently 7-5 on the board as he makes his first start of the year and first time in the U.S. not in a stakes race. And we'll talk more about him after this. We'll also continue our Kentucky Derby spotlight with some of the California chances. Taba and Messier leading up to the first Saturday in May, what they could possibly offer coming in from the West Coast.
For a racehorse is to be named Horse of the Year. To be enshrined to the Hall of Fame is to achieve immortality. As a stallion, genetic immortality is defined in 2 words: breed shaper, plain and simple. 2-time Horse of the Year and Hall of Fame inductee, Curlin is just that. Breed shaper, Curlin, the classic sire.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? NYRA Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with NYRA Bets.
Spun to Run. In the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, he defeated a loaded field that included multiple Grade 1 winners Omaha Beach and Improbable. His brilliant speed figures were among the fastest of any 3-year-old at a mile or more. And he hails from the legendary Danzig sire line. Multiple graded stakes winner, millionaire, Breeders' Cup champion, spun to run, standing at Gainesway.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. So happy to have you with us as our Kentucky Derby Spotlight continues. And we are a couple of East Coasters through and through, Anthony, that's for sure.
Yes.
But the West Coast has historically had a lot of success when it comes to these Triple Crown races. And we'll take a look at some West Coast invaders making their way to the starting gate in Kentucky. Taiba and Messier finishing 1-2 in the Santa Anita Derby.
Yeah, and Taiba making just the second start of his career off of a sprint win in his debut, stretches out and beats a seasoned front runner in Messier, playing his game, getting the job done, and really leaving him the last 75 yards of this heat. Look, this is a tough, tough ask. You're asking a horse in his third start to go from 6 to 1.25 miles. And I know he won his maiden on the front end. He was able to sit off the pace set by Messier, and the Mandela horse is off my name, is escaping my head right now. Forbidden Kingdom, thank you. This is a tough ask. I don't like Messier. I would like Taiba with a couple of more races. It's hard to really like him. And you know what's funny? I thought we'd hear more about this horse, Acacia. We haven't heard a word, which is really interesting to me. I thought we'd hear a whole lot more about this horse. I thought there was a chance. I said it to Greg last week. I thought there was a chance this horse would be the favorite, but the bandwagons of Epicenter and Zandon are just too strong.
Right. There are plenty of people, as you said, on that bandwagon. Interesting California invaders as we see if California can continue their strong resume of Kentucky Derby winners. We're going to take a quick pause to welcome in our regional networks, but we have a lot more live racing for you from Belmont Park and Oaklawn Park. That does include the featured license fee coming up a little bit later on at Belmont as well. You're watching America's Day at the Races. If you're just tuning in on Bally Sports Southern California, we're so glad to have you with us. Acacia Clement and Anthony Stabile here with you. Maggie Wolfendale with us in the paddock at Belmont Park as well, as we're bringing you racing from Belmont and Oaklawn Park. And what a day it's been so far of our racing here in New York.
Yeah, fantastic race. We just saw a pretty good maiden race here on the turf. We got 3 fillies to look forward to. A beautiful day. The license fee coming up here at beautiful Belmont Park. And this is the time of year you want to get out. Kentucky Derby 6 days away. Oaks 5 days away. They'll draw both of those cards tomorrow. Looking forward to getting the post positions drawn. Let the dust settle a little bit, and we can get to the nuts and bolts of handicapping those races starting tomorrow.
I like it. It'll be fun. I can imagine what all the handicappers will be up to tomorrow afternoon once those post positions come out. Looking forward to that. It's an exciting time of year. And hopefully, if you're not going to Kentucky, you can join us here at Belmont Park to watch the Oaks and Derby. We turn the page and get ready for the third race at Oaklawn Park. We're going 6 furlongs on the main track in this claiming race for $50,000. Fillies, the 3-year-olds in the spotlight. Here's a look at the field. The number 5 Curves and Cones for our friend Tom Amoss is currently the favorite.
Yeah, first start off the claim for Tom. Claimed this horse back in January. We haven't seen this horse now for just about 3 months, 4 months actually. It's May already.
It's going to be May.
It's going to be May, yes. Or as Adele would say, hello, it's May. That was so bad. Yeah, I mean,
I'll forgive you one day for that.
I guess this horse belongs the favorite. I'll tell you what, Acacia, as is usually the case, I feel like the inside's good at Oaklawn today. And I'm going to land on Woohoo Jackie Blue, the number 2, for Ron Moquett. See if Giovanni Franco can keep this filly positioned towards the inside. She's got some early speed, and I'd like to see him be aggressive with her from the inside draw.
We'll see how things shake out in this third race at Oaklawn Park as they start to load into the gate. Tom Amos and Maggie Moss, represented by Curbs and Cones. First off the claim, filly by Cairo Prince. It's currently 7-5. Here's track announcer Vic Stauffer with the third at Oaklawn.
Last 2 to load are Dare Me and Cost a Fortune. They're at the post. They're off. Woohoo! Jackie Blue to the front from Canada's Customs and Slushy between horses. Cost a Fortune is in the center. Then My Friend Mr. Jim and Camaraderie, followed by Dare Me, and the trailer is Curbs and Cones. Cost a Fortune is going to cross and clear up the backstretch, and she's a length and a half in front of Woohoo Jackie Blue and Canada's Customs. Those two have sprinted 4 lengths clear from Slushy. Camaraderie's a length behind her and about 7 from the front. Then 3 back to Dare Me, another 3 to My Friend Mr. Jim, and Curbs and Cones is the trailer, and Cost a Fortune is the loose leader. Cost a Fortune around the far turn, a 2-length lead on Canada's Customs, who moves up in second. Woohoo Jackie Blue's back in third now, and still 2 from the front. Then comes Camaraderie. Slushy is gone. She's about to be passed by Dare Me and Curbs and Cones. Top of the stretch, Cost a Fortune. Canada's Customs comes after her. Cost a Fortune a length in front. Canada's Customs is second. 2 lengths to Woohoo Jackie Blue, and at the outside and Camaraderie, but it's still Cost a Fortune. She's got a 2-length lead on Canada's Customs in second. Cost a Fortune, Canada's Customs, Woohoo Jackie Blue, Cost a Fortune in front. Cost a Fortune won by 2. Canada's Customs was second, Woohoo Jackie Blue third, and Camaraderie finished fourth.
Cost a Fortune makes it 2 victories in a row, aggressively handled by jockey Elvin Gonzalez. The filly by Run Happy takes them every step of the way.
Yes, maybe it's not the inside that's good. Maybe you just want to be in front, because this filly was able to clear under Edwin Gonzalez and just keep on going. She's never really shown speed except 2 starts back in November and December where she was fast out of the gate. It worked when she broke her maiden in Oaklawn when she was claimed that day, and it worked again today.
Now winning 3 out of her last 4 starts at Oaklawn Park. Back at Belmont Park, we have the 5th race coming up next, 1.25 miles on the inner turf in this allowance optional claiming. A terrific race coming up here with some really competitive runners. Soldier Rising, though, currently even money on the board as he makes his first non-stakes race in the U.S. We head down. We'll get a paddock report from Maggie Wolfendale. Maggie, what are you seeing from Soldier Rising back as a 4-year-old?
I like him here, Acacia, especially given his last race in the Red Smith, in which he was out the back door and was the only horse to make up significant ground. He came home very quickly that day. So the jury kind of still out onto how he's going to be ridden today with Arad Ortiz back aboard, because one of the times that Arad rode him, which was back in the Jockey Club Derby, he was forwardly placed. But actually, just looking back at my notes, that day, for whatever reason, he was really on it. He was on his toes, he was really on the bridle, and since then, he hasn't been that way, and it's the same thing again today, as he is well-conditioned coming in here. He does get Lasix. I think he is a horse that deserves the respect that he's getting too, because I think there actually might be some pace to go on in front of him, and one of those horses that could be forward, as this is a race that does feature a lot of horses kind of coming back now as 4-year-olds and reestablishing themselves. But Tango Tango Tango, he made his first start as a 4-year-old, a winning one at the 7.5 furlongs at Gulfstream Park with a very wide trip, and it just seems as though those wide trips at Gulfstream don't often win, and he was just out in no man's land throughout, and he still was resolute in getting the job done. He's done well. He's filled out. He was a very kind of leggy horse as a 3-year-old with not much hanging on the frame, and now he has that conditioning on. Very relaxed here in the paddock, ships in for Jack Sisterson. I think he's a horse that should be forward in here, getting back out to a distance in which last year when he showed up for that Jockey Club Derby Invitational, I thought he might be able to handle it. We'll see. He is facing many of the same horses. It wasn't able to get that close to them, but he is a generous 11-1 right now. As number 9 Slicked Back, speaking of getting close to them, he did at a big price. Now, his subsequent start in the Hill Prince, maybe not quite as good, but again, I think he's faced some good horses throughout his career. I love his energy today. He's bouncing on his toes. He was really striding out well, really overreaching. You know, when a horse's hind foot eclipses that front foot, when you see their prints in the ground, and just moving well. He's done well from 3 to 4. I think he's very intriguing from that outside post position, Acacia.
Maggie, thank you. Slicked Back, as we see just another one coming back for the first start of his 4-year-old season. Anthony, makes things intriguing. You have horses that were either very good as 3-year-olds, faced some very good horses. Now you kind of see where they stack up back here in 2022.
Yeah, let's see how he progresses from 3 to 4. Let's see what the Class Relief does. Gets Lasix for the first time as well.
Soldier Rising, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. First time ever in his career.
Yeah. So
started out in Europe and France, running very well. First and second in the first 4 races of his career. Went right into the Grade 1 Saratoga Derby. His lone poor performance really in the U.S. was when they cut him back to go shorter in the Hill Prince, and physically looks like maybe a little bit shorter distance, but he wants to go long.
I apologize. I got confused.
Yeah.
So I was staring at him on the TV, and I just automatically started talking about Soldier Rising.
Yeah,
he looks
okay.
so good out there today. He really does. I was like mesmerized. I was like dazzled. I was
Soldier
in
Rising.
a trance. Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks amazing out there today.
Even money on that runner as horses come through that iconic Belmont Tunnel. And we'll see. There's a look at Barkley Tag. Always great to see Barkley
Robin
at
Smullen.
the races. And Robin, the brains behind the operation. We all know that. They have Ombre in here as well. Here's the post rate, though, starting with Soldier Rising.
Yeah, first-time Lasix Class Relief. We'll see if Christophe Clement can get his 3rd win on the card.
Soldier Rising, one of 2 for the barn in here as well. Here's the 3 Sanctuary City. Wearing well in the Dangerous Hour last time.
Hard knock in New York, where it went the mile last time. They're going to stretch him out to 1.25 miles. You know, his running style leads you to believe he wants more ground. I don't know if this really suits him.
Next will be the other one for the Christophe Clement barn. Here's Mega Yacht.
Wonder if Mega Yacht's forwardly placed today under Joel Rosario. I don't know how much speed there is in here. Tango, 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 Tide of the Sea. I don't know how fast they are. Tango, Tango, Tango's fast. We'll see if Mega Yacht's closer than usual today.
Here's Barkley Tag's runner Ombre stretching out.
Another one on the stretch out could be a little bit closer. There's a nice horse in there. I don't know if any of his races so far make him a player today, but let's see how he does first start off the February break.
Let's see how he handles the 1.25 miles as well. Here's the 6 Maltael.
Yeah, a little bit of an old distance horse who's going to get tested for class again today. I know he's won some allowance races going the 1.5 miles. I think he's facing a tougher bunch this afternoon.
We'll see what he has to offer today. Here's the 7 Tango, Tango, Tango gets Flavian Pratt aboard.
He went to the lead in the Jockey Club Derby before running last. Came back and went 7.5 last time for Jack Sisterson. He'll stretch back out again, see if he's a distance horse.
Here's a horse that you would imagine would be a big part of the pace, Tide of the Sea.
Yeah, he was second to Gufo in the Grand Cartier last year. I don't know what happened after the Japan Turf Cup at Laurel. He's really tailed off form. Once upon a time, he'd be a tough customer in here.
Yeah, last 2 races, though in Grade 2 company, make him a little bit suspect in here. Here's the 9 Slicked Back.
Haven't seen him since a trio of 3-year-old stakes races to end his season back in October. Comes in off the break. See if he's ready to roll. He's a big price at 11-1.
And the 1A who will break from second outside. Here's a boxing score.
Just making his 8th start as a 6-year-old now. He has plenty of layoff lines on his card. Distance is his friend. We'll see if Jonathan Thomas can keep him on the racetrack, and we'll see if he has him ready to fire off of that August break.
Getting a big warm-up under jockey Jose Ortiz as the number 2 Soldier Rising is your favorite. And we'll take a look at his Red Smith, which was the last time we saw him. As Maggie mentioned, he was last early on, and the horse setting the pace, Channel Cat, finished second. So the horse, the pace didn't necessarily collapse in this race, and he was so far back that day.
Irad Ortiz Jr. is climbing back aboard today, Acacia. The last time he rode him, he was second in the Jockey Club Derby Invitational. And this horse, behind Yabir, he was closer in that race than he had ever been in the States. And I wonder if that's the plan today, if Irad from the inside draw decides to get him engaged a little earlier than some of his other riders have. He did it once in his first start here in the Saratoga Derby Invitational in the Grade 1. Kind of lost contact early, came with a big run late to get the place money. I wonder if he's a little closer today.
I also wanted to point out with that Saratoga Derby, he broke from the rail that day. And it was his first start in the U.S., and we've seen this with these European-type runners. They typically, their first start in the U.S., you won't see them come out maybe as quickly from the gate. And he just seemed to be a little sluggish from the inside, and he did come running late to finish second behind State of Rest, who was very talented. And one, I'm blanking on the name of it, the Group 1 in Australia after that for Joseph O'Brien.
Did he win the Melbourne Cup?
No.
Cox Plate?
Cox Plate, that's
Cox
what it was. Yabir, obviously, winner of the Breeders' Cup Turf as well.
Yes. And that's a good point with Soldier Rising.
Yeah. Coming here from Man of War, though he got beat this past weekend.
Irad rode him the first time and didn't know what to expect. Second time he climbs aboard, he's a length and a half, 2 lengths off the lead. So maybe knowing that now, he'll keep him more engaged early on.
Knows this horse. But looking at Christoph's other runner, Mega Yacht, this is a horse who likes distance and did win going a mile in 3/8 at Gulfstream. Those last 2 races were off the turf. They were on the Tapeta. And he got the win last time out. But he is one that has the ability to be forward.
Joel Rosario in the Shell Evans colors. What a son of Tonalist. If that's not going to bring a smile to my face today, I don't know what is going to. Yeah, you know, he's another horse. Distance certainly appears to be his friend. He's just a little on the slow side right now. That rate, but you know what? The races on the Tapeta down at Gulfstream,
they come back slow.
Yeah, he's gotten a little faster as he's gotten older. Maybe he's just a horse that's going to need, to develop a little bit, to mature a little bit. We'll see. He's a good-looking son of Tonalist, and yeah, he's a square price at 9-1.
Very smart horse as well, Mega Yacht. For more though on this field warming up on the track, let's go back to Maggie.
Yeah, he kind of looks like Tonalist a little bit as far as his body. But yeah, Mega Yacht's done well. Another one going from 3 to 4. It's kind of funny. I thought that with regards to the board, I thought that the 2 horses that, participated in some of the turf triple races, such as Tango, 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 and Slick Back, would take more money, but that's not the case. The 4 and the 5, I mean, it's a small discrepancy, but they're taking some money. I, like Anthony, thought that Mega Yacht was maybe a little bit outclassed here, a little bit on the slower side compared to some of these, but he has done well. And look, on form, he's taken a step forward with every subsequent start. So, and he's fairly sharp. He has the recency to boot, which I think aids his cause, and he's not going to be caught out here with regards to the pace. And number 5, Ombre, I thought he'd be a big price, but he's not. And he could be the one that is the most forward in here. He could be setting the pace. And as always, I think you do have to kind of decipher who might be setting the pace when it comes to these inner turf races, because sometimes if they can soften things up, they can steal it. I'm not totally sold on this guy as a son of Taurus, to Breeders' Cup mile winner, getting the distance from the physical perspective. Tactically, he could be advantageous here for Barkley Tag, who had a winner yesterday. This guy looks incredibly fit, and he's another one that has done really well. Maybe he gets the most improved mark from 3 to 4, looking at him physically, Acacia.
Maggie, thank you. He certainly made a nice impression down in Florida in his last couple of starts. Did Ombre. The question is, does he stack up with these types here? And Maggie brings up an interesting point about the pace. He has the ability to be forward. You do have Tide of the Sea in here, but he seems like he's tailed off a little bit. How do things shake out in this 1.25 mile pace-wise tactically in this race?
Let's see who's the aggressor. Let's see if it's Ombre. Let's see if it's Tide of the Sea and Kendrick. Let's see if it's Tango, 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 and Favian Pratt. I think Pratt comes in to New York with the reputation of being a more patient rider. Well, this is a chance on a horse that's coming out of a 7.5 furlong race who could very well be forward in here. Let's see how aggressive he is early on. Let's see if he takes that proverbial bull by the horns.
There is Tango, 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 another one who participated in the Jockey Club Derby. Maybe he will be forward once again. There's Tide of the Sea coming out of the Pan American down in South Florida as well. Super competitive allowance optional claiming. Very well could be a stake this race.
Yeah, could very well be a stakes race. There's a lot of nice horses in here. I like a cold 2-1. Boxing Scores a horse that I think has some real races inside of him. Can Jonathan Thomas keep him on the racetrack and get him to perform at his best? We'll see. Like I said, just his 8th start as a 6-year-old now.
We'll see what happens here in the 5th at Belmont Park. We go up to John and Brielle with the call.
There in the gate. And they're off. Going for the lead is Ombre, along with Tango, Tango, Tango. Moving up on the outside is a Tide of the Sea. And it is a Tide of the Sea who has the lead. Ombre's running in second, Slick back on the outside in third, and then Tango, Tango, Tango next in fourth. Soldier Rising, saving ground down on the inside in fifth. Malthael is alongside in sixth. Then Sanctuary City in seventh. The two trailers are Box and Score and Mega Yacht. The opening quarter mile went in 24 and 2/5 seconds. And the field is on the backstretch with Tide of the Sea leading here by a little more than a length. Slicked back runs in second. Ombre is next in third. And then it's Tango, Tango, Tango in fourth. The favorite, Soldier Rising on the inside in fifth. And he's followed by Malthael and Sanctuary City, another 4 lengths. Back to Box and Score and a Mega Yacht. Half mile 49 and 1. It is Tide of the Sea who has the lead here, and Tide of the Sea is now clear by almost 3 lengths. Slicked back, Ombre are heads apart second and third. Tango, Tango, Tango is fourth, 4 lengths from the front. Then Soldier Rising and Malthael as they begin the run into the far turn. Tide of the Sea is the leader here by a length and a half. With Slick back racing in second, then Ombre, Tango, Tango, Tango begins to pick it up now on the outside. Soldier Rising is down at the rail, and alongside is Malthael, then Sanctuary City. They are coming for the top of the stretch, 3/4 up in 1:12 and 4. It is Tide of the Sea, Tango, Tango, Tango on the outside of Slick back, so it's 3 of them across. Looking for racing room is Soldier Rising, and on the outside is Malthael. Sanctuary City is coming on now as they hit the 16th pole. Here comes Sanctuary City on the outside of Tango, Tango, Tango. Tango, Tango, Tango has won it. Sanctuary City was second, and the favorite Soldier Rising finished third.
Tango, Tango, Tango with the win, now making it 2 for 2 in 2022. A nice effort from him, but a story certainly, Anthony, for the favorite Soldier Rising. Nowhere to go in the stretch.
Yeah, nowhere to go for Soldier Rising. You see Arad started looking right around the 5/16 pole for an exit strategy from the ground-saving trip. He did everything right. It's just sometimes you're the hero and sometimes you're the GOAT. And that's going to depend on if that hole opens. And it didn't. You see right here, he's in the pink cap between horses. He's laying 6th. He tries to go outside here. The hole doesn't open. Now, he's waiting and waiting and waiting. He can't go anywhere. The 6th, Malthael, keeps him in. The hole doesn't open when the 9 starts to back up a little bit. He tries to go in between horses there. And right here he gets through. You see, he got tight on the number 9. It got tight on Slick back. And he just, by the time the hole opened up and materialized, he was out of horse.
Yeah.
But when you're fighting a horse for 3/16 of a mile, they're not machines. And, you know, it was just an unfortunate trip here. Horse with the clean trip was Tango, 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 and he's going to wind up getting to the winner's circle at a healthy price here. He's double digits.
There is, you see Soldier Rising on the inside, pink cap, yellow colors, a red Ortiz trying at this point, but as you mentioned, when the stops and starts throughout the stretch there of trying to take different traffic patterns throughout, but Tango, 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 who obviously has improved coming back here as a 4-year-old, got the win at Gulfstream with a wide trip last time out, and it gets to the winner's circle today. Flavien Prat, his first day riding regularly in New York, and he finds the winner's circle, though not for Chad Brown.
No, not for Chad Brown, for Jack Sisterson. This horse, this is another horse. He was one of those 4-year-olds in here. Mega Yacht, this horse, Ombre. They were kind of knocking at the door. Let's see who could take the step forward, and he took a step forward today.
Sanctuary City, the New York bred, gotta love him. He shows up every time. He finished second in here as well, 7-3-2-6. The favorite, Soldier Rising, with the tough trip, will have to settle for third today. We'll bring you prices from this 5th race at Belmont Park. A terrific card still to come for the rest of the day, and Oaklawn Park on tap as well.
City of Light, a multiple Grade 1 winner with $5.6 million in earnings. Winner of the Grade 1 Malibu, the Grade 1 Triple Bend, the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, posting a 110 buyer, and the Grade 1 Pegasus World Cup, posting a 112 buyer. The best son to date of leading stallion Quality Road. City of Light stands to continue his sire's legacy at Lane's End.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. An upset in the 4th race as the horse with the trip went to the number 7, Tango, Tango, Tango. No place to go for the favorite, Soldier Rising, but this son of Taurus gives Flavien Prat his trip to the winner's circle in his first day riding regularly in New York.
Yeah, Tango, 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 clean trip. Soldier Rising, not so much of a clean trip.
Well, it's time for us to say goodbye. Lots of fun with a little A-Train reunion, sharing the
Yes.
desk with you.
Always, always a good time.
I'll be back reporting later. Greg Wolf and Richard Migliori coming up on the desk. But in the meantime, we go to Maggie Wolfendale standing by with Flavien Prat.
Desk today, and it only took him 2 races, but Flavien Prat found his way to the Belmont Park winner's circle aboard Tango, Tango, Tango. And first of all, let's talk a little bit about your trip, because you said to me you just had so much horse down the backside, and you were kind of the one to make the move, which also kept Soldier Rising and Rod Ortiz in the pocket, I'm sure a little longer than he wanted.
Yeah, no, I had a super trip. He broke well, got me into the race, then I was traveling super behind the speed. I just didn't want to get stuck because he's a horse that has a good kick, but it takes him a little while to get going. So moved a little early, got him on the outside, and after that, he did the rest.
We saw you ride him 2 starts back in the Jockey Club Invitational, Turf Invitational. When you have experience on a horse, how much does that play into how you ride them subsequently?
Well, it seems that he matured a lot since that race. Obviously, he put the blinkers back on. I think it was a key today. And the distance was fitting perfectly. So, yeah, I think there was, anyway, some improvement from last year.
Well, congratulations. Didn't take you long. We'll see you two races from now aboard another Jack Sisterson horse in Añejo. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, Flavien Prat getting the win here in his only second start, riding at Belmont full time. But stay tuned. On the other side of this break, we'll welcome Greg Wolf and Richard Migliori to America's Day at the Races.
This proven son of A.P. Indy has sired over 50 stakes winners and well over 100 stakes horses. Recent top performers include Search Results, winner of the Grade 1 Acorn Stakes and a hard-fought second in the Kentucky Oaks, plus these standout performers. In the auction ring, his progeny continued to command top dollar. 2-year-olds by Flatter sold up to $625,000. Flatter, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program because New York breds start with an advantage. New York breds run for serious green. At Belmont and Saratoga, New York bred maidens run for up to $75,000 and allowance horses for up to $85,000. And serious New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race in open company. So get back with the program. Seriously.
It's 1,000 words fighting back, coming down to the finish. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, this is one stunning picture.
1,000 words just in front. 1,000 words wins the Robert B. Lewis.
Honor EP is full out now, second on the outside. And they're coming down to the line, and 1,000 words has done it.
We continue along on America's Day at the Races on FS2, regional networks out in Southern California. Good to have you with us. Greg Wolf, Richard Migliori with you on Sunday here in Elmont, New York. And our feature to come later today, that is the license fee. Christophe Clement looking to go back-to-back in this race the last 2 years.
Yeah, always strong with the turf contingents, and love these turf sprints. Always competitive, and it's always about trips, isn't it?
Too Sexy will have Joelle Rosario aboard. It's going to be her 5-year-old debut coming back for the Clement Barn. We'll talk more about that feature race. 6 furlongs on the inner turf a little bit later on as we get to it. 5th race. Welcome to New York. Flavien Prat joining this New York colony. Riding today, then he's going to be obviously in Kentucky, but then he'll be back to ride full-time. 13-1 on Tango, Tango, Tango.
A rider that's already making an impact and is going to be a welcome addition to a very strong riding colony that just got even deeper.
One of the best in the country, an already deep colony. You see that pick 5, early pick 5 over $12,000. Pick 6 carryover into this Sunday card over $81,400. And look at this start. We are headed to a double carryover into next week already.
Wow. And yesterday, tough sequence. First 2 were big prices. Kind of following in the footsteps.
Got to pick 4 next. We'll set that up in a bit. We're going to head over to Hot Springs first. 4th at Oaklawn. $25,000 claiming race, 2-turn mile coming up. And Sign of the Cross right now is the favorite, Robertino Diodoro. 5-time winner from 15 starts. A win and a second already at this meet. Going to try and add another win here coming up, and here he is.
Yeah, and he's certainly very logical, and the fact that he's shown an affinity for Oaklawn Park already strengthens the case for him.
8-5. He can be in a tactical position early on. Quarterback Dak, blinkers come off for him.
And taking a big drop in class, gets an inside post, and Ricardo Santana.
Here's the 3 home run trick. 7-year-old son of Winslow Homer, a 7-time winner.
7-time winner, 6-time winner at Oaklawn, and possesses speed, should be involved early.
Yeah, he wants to go gate to wire, no question. 8-1 on all the diamonds just claimed by the Aiden Green barn.
I don't see the 3 going gate to wire because of the presence of All Diamonds, who's coming out of sprints, where he's been close to the pace, should be up close early as well.
Pinson, Randy Moore's trained, 13-time winner. This 9-year-old's won over $500,000.
Yeah, 13-time winner, only 1 for 17 at Oaklawn, big price.
Most Sandisfactory blinkers going on for another Robertino Diodoro runner.
Yeah, a horse that lagged last time off the layoff, or after freshening, I should say. Will the blinkers get this horse more involved?
Bootsy's Galaxy at 5-1, Francisco Arrieta.
Yeah, Bootsy's Galaxy, certainly a horse that is another one stretching out in distance, and probably will be closer, stretching to this mile distance.
Minutes a post coming up, this 4th from Oaklawn. You could play it all by getting signed up and started with NYRA Bets. Join today, get a $25 free bet for the Kentucky Derby. First Saturday in May, right around the corner. New members can also earn that $200 deposit match bonus with the promo code. Drum roll, please. Derby25, there it is. Go to NYRABets.com or download that NYRA Bets app to get signed up and started. Jonathan Kinchin, I saw you just yesterday. I already miss you.
Wolfie, I wake up every day counting until I get to see your face again.
You
in
liar.
real life, not via the screen. I promise, every morning it's a ritual I do. I wake
It's
up
mutual.
and I have this little shrine in my room, and I just think about how excited I am to see you. But let's try to get a winner here first, Wolfie. No one cares about how much we miss each other. I like the 2 in here, Sign of the Cross. I think if you wanted to look for an alternative, you could possibly look to the 3 Home Run Trick. But the problem is the price isn't there's not a big enough price gap between the 2 of those. Yes, the 3 Home Run Trick is interesting. And yes, Sign of the Cross might be a little bit shorter than I would like Sign of the Cross to be. But if I'm looking between the 2 of them, I still prefer the 2 Sign of the Cross at 3-2 over Home Run Trick at 5-2. I would need a better number on the 3 in here. The 2 Sign of the Cross last 2 races absolutely can win this one. You get Diodoro at Oaklawn Park. Nothing wrong with that at all.
JK, thanks. And yeah, Kershaw, pretty good horse who beat him last time out. Didn't beat him by much. And the horse who finished just behind him as well, Roaming Union. He came back to win. So it was a tough heat he's coming out of. He's obviously in very sharp form, and he's shown he loves it here at Oaklawn.
Yeah, and I rely on that. When I see horses that have shown success at Oaklawn and they handle the racetrack, it elevates them in my eyes.
And again, doesn't need the lead. Home Run Trick, the 3 seemingly does. In the presence, as you said, of that 4, that speed sprinter stretching out, it's going to make his life difficult.
Yeah, I mean, the 4 All the Diamonds is coming at a very sharp pace races where he's been really right on top of it.
Big stop for the call.
Slow start. Quarterback Dak. Pinson also was taken up early. Home Run Trick and All the Diamonds are fastest. All the Diamonds a neck in front. Home Run Trick away in second. Then Sign of the Cross. And to the outside, Bootsy's Galaxy with Most Sandisfactory in a tight spot between horses. Then it's 5 back to the 2 troubled starters, Quarterback Dak and Pinson. So All the Diamonds and Home Run Trick are 1-2, and All the Diamonds is tugging at Kylie Jordan. Wants to go, and he leads by a neck. Home Run Trick is second by 2 lengths. 2 Bootsy's Galaxy and Sign of the Cross right together, third and fourth. They are now 6 lengths clear of Most Sandisfactory. He's 4 in front of Quarterback Dak, and Pinson is desperately last. Midway on the backstretch, finish line is the 16th pole, and Home Run Trick puts his head in front. Home Run Trick now a neck in front of All the Diamonds in second. It's 2 lengths to Sign of the Cross and Bootsy's Galaxy. Both in with good chances. Sign of the Cross about to move through at the rail. He could take second soon. 5-2 Most Sandisfactory. Quarterback Dak has 9 to make up. Pinson has trailed throughout, and Home Run Trick is about to be challenged by Sign of the Cross, who's between horses, and to the outside, Bootsy's Galaxy. All the Diamonds is gone. 5 back to Quarterback Dak. Home Run Trick tough to get by. Home Run Trick, the leader at the top of the stretch. A length on Bootsy's Galaxy in second. Sign of the Cross is back in third, then Quarterback Dak, and Bootsy's Galaxy is trying to get by Home Run Trick, and it will not be easy. Home Run Trick reaches. Bootsy's Galaxy tries. Home Run Trick, Bootsy's Galaxy. Home Run Trick says, welcome to Oaklawn, Bootsy. Home Run Trick, Bootsy.
Aggressive.
Third, Quarterback.
Home Run Trick not able to get to the front because of all the diamonds. As you pointed out, Mig, doesn't matter. In the end, still able to get the win.
No, took the heat, but was able to keep that inside position, never allowed all the diamonds to drop over, get in front of him, but took the pressure and kept finding home run trick. Very, very game to beat back Bootsy's Galaxy through the stretch. Home run trick, very game, 7th win at Oaklawn Park.
3-8-2 finish at 4th at Oaklawn. Carl Broberg, Elwin Gonzalez, 501 Boys Racing. As we head back to New York here, race 6 at Belmont starts the late pick 4. It's a 1-turn mile. Horses who've not won 3 lifetime. As you take a look at the current odds, Carrick right now the 4-horse 2-1 favorite. Orlando Nota, Irad Ortiz Jr. had a 2-win day yesterday. Let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Well, as Meg and I like to say, it's not a beauty contest, but when you are dealing with looking at horses physically, it's important to note the differences from one start to the next. And I was really kind of almost on the edge of my seat to see what Amity Island would look like going to Linda Rice's barn, because typically Linda is very good about putting conditioning on her horses, and she's done that with Amity Island. Still a filly that's probably never going to be truly that strong behind the saddle. But furthermore, she's one that has looked terrible in her coat throughout the winter. And this girl has dapples now. I mean, she looks completely different. And I don't know if that's going to help her win a race today, but I do think it is evidently worth noting as she does take the blinkers off. And while it's a small sample, Linda Rice does have good numbers. First off the claim blinkers off, she is 3 for 8 with a positive ROI. And 2, I like the fact that despite this filly not having much early speed, which I do think hurts her at times, she is a little bit more lively than what I've seen from her in recent races. Moving on to the outside, number 7, Alpine Queen. I think outside is the key word for Alpine Queen, who often has trouble getting out of the gate. And one of the old adages I've learned around the racetrack is last one in, first one out. Not that that's necessarily going to be the case, but just standing in the gate less time always helps a horse who doesn't like to get out of there that quickly. She's very healthy. I thought had a bit of a trip when she broke last, and I don't want to say rushed up, but she went up and just kind of ran a little bit more of a taxing race than many of the others in there and still held on for second. So I want to give her another shot too for Michelle Giangiulio. Guys?
All right, Maggie, thank you. Ari Vargas Jr. will be aboard. Got off very slow last time out, and yeah, was just sort of rushed up the rail. Pretty big effort considering that. We'll see a better break. It'll be very dangerous today. There's a look at Carrick. Orlando Nota, 2-1 favorite. Already a winner here at Belmont. 2 for 18 record coming in. Late pick 4 on this Sunday card. We'll kick off when we return.
Run Happy was the #1 second crop sire by graded stakes winners and earnings. A leading dirt sire and now is an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful.
Kicked it into high gear, and Smile Happy with a powerful performance wins by 2.5.
Run Happy continues his rise and is priced for success. Clips champion Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on FS2. Good to have you with us. Get signed up, started if you have not already. Go to NYRABets.com. Download the app. We got the pick 4 coming up next as we get a look at the field here for race 6. Again, a 1-turn mile, non-winners of 3 lifetime. Here's Carly Hustle.
Carly Hustle coming off a second-place finish, going 7/8, moves up in company.
Javier Castellano looking for his second winner on today's card. Amity Island, one of 3 coming out of the same race, and this one finished 4th behind them all. Had a really significant bump, a prolonged bump out of the gate.
Yeah, and I just like the comments that Maggie had about this horse physicality, and certainly that her coat was much more resplendent than it had been.
5-1 was 3-1 morning line. How lucky is put together 2 in a row for Horatio De Paz?
You know, this horse broke her maiden for 10, but it just feels like she's gotten better and better and is in good form. I think a contender.
Yeah, I like the way she looks here. Jose Gomez giving her a nice warm-up. Carrick still favored here at 5-2 with Irad Ortiz Jr.
Yeah, maybe it's the presence of Irad or the hot Orlando Noda barn, but this filly's taking a lot of money here. Not crazy about her energy level in the post-raid. We'll keep an eye on her.
Scott Alaya coming off a dominant win, gate to wire for 25,000 non-winners of 2.
Yeah, strong performance that day, and certainly she can pair that up. Contender.
And Alpine Queen, a lot to like from this race. The poor beginning, though, is becoming a bit of a habit with her, but the race she ran despite that was very good.
Yeah, but maybe being drawn 6 of 6 here with the scratch of the 5, she's not going to be inhibited by a horse outside of her. Maybe she breaks a little cleaner. She certainly doesn't have to worry about getting squeezed or pinched back between 2 horses.
She is 6-1. She finished the best of the bunch along with Carrick and Amity Island, who faced off last time out back on March 18th. It's your final day to earn a $20 bonus, I should say, on your winning exactas at Belmont. To qualify, go to NYRABets.com. You got to opt into the promotion. Then bet your exactas, and if your ticket hits, you'll get that 20% bonus in your account. All the details at NYRABets.com. So here again, the favorite, Carrick, 4-year-old filly, who's just 2 for 18 lifetime and was pretty long ways back of Alpine Queen back on March 18th. And there's that start from Alpine Queen.
And there's that start. And then she makes up, she goes so much ground in the beginning of the race. You see, ridden by Jose Gomez this day, he dropped it down to the inside where there was a clear path. And now she's going to carry him right into the race. That's an awful lot of ground to make up in a very short period of time. And, you know, as an apprentice, these are things that you're going to learn, that once you break that way, you're better off kind of making up that ground incrementally, not all at once the way she did. It was just too inviting an opening for a young rider to resist going through. And the fact that she hung in there to be second after, again, making up all that ground in the first quarter of a mile, I think it shows just how good a race it was for her.
It had to do all that work, and still, look, she gets beat. But look how clear she is of the rest of this field. Take that into account. That's a pretty good effort.
Oh, a really good effort. And Chasen Bryn came back with a good second-place finish just the other day, I believe opening day of Belmont Park. So she showed that her form is legit. And Alpine Queen, again, even if she breaks a step slow, being outside gives her the luxury to creep into the race.
And you look at the start of that race again, and it's not like she broke. She just is slow out of the gate.
Well, she is, but then it looked like the horses did come together, you know, because horses are like water. They will tend to flow to empty space. And when, she didn't occupy that space by not breaking, they just came together and kind of, not that she took up, but almost put her toes in the ground and took herself even more out of it.
Well, that man right there, one of the best in the business, Irad Ortiz Jr., back here yesterday. It did not take him long to make an immediate impact. Irad with a couple of wins on that Saturday card.
Yeah, worked his Derby horse, Mo Donegal, early in the morning at Churchill Downs, caught a flight out and got here in time to honor his commitments. Jet set lifestyle.
You want to be in demand. He certainly is. That means logging a lot of air miles. Jonathan, your thoughts on Alpine Queen with that poor break, rushed up, and then still hung in for second?
Yeah, it's always something to be concerned about when you see horses, especially, older horses, when they've been showing that consistent breaking slow. You don't really want to spot the field, especially in a competitive race. You don't want to spot the field any links. But to Richie's point, I think if you're going to have a horse who does break a tad bit slow, this is the best place to have them break slow from the outside. Hopefully they don't go to that empty space to the right, but either way, at least they're not going to get bumped. The rider can kind of just find a position towards the outside. It doesn't have to be some of the negative things that can happen when you're down towards the inside. And if you look at Alpine Queen, she's got some races where she's competitive at this level. She's got some bad races at this level as well. But if she can just kind of get out of the gate, stay connected, I do feel from a speed figure standpoint that she fits in here. Now, with that said, this is who I'll pick, the 7. I thought this was the hardest race in the pick 6 sequence, where I basically did the Wolfie's favorite move, the all but one. I didn't use the rail horse in here in my pick 6 that's no longer with us. But I think this is a very tough race. But if you're looking for some win value, I think there could be a little bit of win value on the 7. But the most important question is, Maggie, do we need to put in our earplugs? Is the 4 going to win this race? Or are we going to hear the notice yelling in the winner's circle?
I need to go find a bomb shelter for that. He's right over there, Jonathan. Look, when the Nota train gets rolling, a lot of people jump on, especially when you get a Rat Ortiz aboard. I can't recommend Carrick from the physical standpoint. Didn't like her in the paddock. Didn't really like her in the warm-up either, but I've said that before about these horses, and they win despite me. We'll move on to the inside with number 3, How Lucky. I was against her going into this race based on form. But yes, I know, how can you knock a horse who has won 2 races in a row? I just think she's meeting some tougher company here. But I will say she moved up in my eyes watching her in these prelims. Very healthy horse. Her coat's kind of going through that weird molting stage. But looks good on the racetrack. Took a little while to warm up behind, but still great energy as she is sharp heading towards the gate. Number 6 is Scott Elia. She's gotten some cushy trips in her last 2, but she's run with some decent horses. While Lenny Kate come back and win as well. We'll see where she's placed here by Kendrick Carmouche, but as a horse that is going to be a short price, she, for me, ticked every box. And, you know, dueling 5-2 shots here, Greg. I'll take Scott Elia.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Scott Elia with Kendrick Carmouche, the 6, trying to go back-to-back. She did get pretty soft early fractions in that win last time out, but it was for $25,000, non-winners of 2.
Yeah, listen, she's legit, and Kendrick is just so good. He's good on all kinds of horses, so I'm not trying to paint the picture he's a speed rider, but when he does have a speed horse, he knows how to dole a horse's speed out. Riding a speed horse isn't about going to the lead and going as slow as possible. It's about kind of making everybody else play your game, a little bit of cat and mouse, and take them off the bridle, make them work to stay with you at some point.
5-2, Scott Elia with Kendrick's mount, co-favorite right now, along with that Orlando Nota filly. Carrick, the daughter of Commissioner. This race, again, kicks off this pick 4, 2 monster prices to begin this pick 6 carryover of over $81,000 this afternoon. We're headed well on our way to a 2-day carryover into next week. See how this 6 plays out. 1-turn mile coming up. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial, the call.
In the gate and set for race 6. And they're off. It is Scott Elia and Carrick on the far outside, Alpine Queen. And now How Lucky moves on through. At the rail, it's Carly Hustle. Amity Island is the early trailer in 6th. Scott Elia is the leader here by 3/4 of a length. On the inside is How Lucky. On the outside is Alpine Queen. Those two are right together. 2nd and 3rd. And then it's 2.5 lengths back to Carly Hustle, who's racing in 4th. Amity Island now moves up a spot into 5th. And Carrick is the trailer. Opening quarter went in 23 and 2/5 seconds. Scott Elia setting the pace here, leading by a length. Alpine Queen, the gray, running in 2nd with How Lucky down at the rail and now back in 3rd. Then comes Carly Hustle, followed by Carrick, and Amity Island is once again the trailer. Half mile 47-1. They're midway on the turn. Scott Elia by 3/4 of a length. Alpine Queen on the outside, 2nd by a length and a half. How Lucky is down at the rail. Carrick now moves up on the outside. And in between horses is Carly Hustle At the back is Amity Island. They're coming for the top of the stretch. Here's Alpine Queen now, right alongside of Scott Elia. It is Alpine Queen and Scott Elia heads apart into the stretch. Alpine Queen has taken the lead. Scott Elia dropping back. On the outside is Carrick, who has moved into second. And then comes How Lucky. Alpine Queen in front. Alpine Queen, the leader. Carrick driving up on the outside. Alpine Queen, Carrick, Scott Elia down at the rail. They come for the finish. Alpine Queen and Carrick. Photo finish. Too tight to call. Was it Carrick or was it Alpine Queen?
Photo finish to start off this late pick 4. Irad Ortiz Jr. on Carrick, gaining with every stride. Not sure who got there. Alpine Queen trying to hang on. Jorge Vargas Jr. on the 7.
Alpine Queen broke much better with that outside post, took the lead into the stretch. And here came Carrick relentlessly to the wire, and we'll keep an eye on where their noses are, up and down, and it sure looks like Carrick got there first. Ran down, no excuses for Alpine Queen. She worked out a real good trip under Jorge Vargas, but the hot Orlando Nota barn under hustling Irad Ortiz Jr. got there right on the line.
Brutal beat for Alpine Queen. Was in great position throughout, broke so much better, as you mentioned, and in good position throughout the race, just unable to hold off Carrick here, who is now 3 for 19, it looks like, is going to get this photo win here and has been put up yet 5-2.
Yeah, and again, Jorge Vargas did everything right. She broke, much better with that outside position, was patient, waited to set her down. He got a little bit of response here. It looked like, that was going to be enough when he kind of put a little separation on Carrick, but Carrick kept coming relentlessly, and just in the shadow of the wire is going to run down a very game Alpine Queen, but a nice performance from Carrick, who just gets up. Lower level horses put on quite a show here.
Fun stretch duel unless you were back in the 7 Alpine Queen, but look, hats off to these connections to get a lot more in a better effort out of this field. She ran a winning race, just didn't go her way today.
Yeah, and the shame of it is though, you never can control what post position you're to get, and I think the outside post genuinely helped Alpine Queen's trip, because she didn't have that outside pressure of horse outside her. Next time she draws inside, you got to think about that. Maybe it downgrades what you think about her chances because of that tendency to break a little bit slow.
Irad Ortiz Jr., Orlando Nota, 4-year-old filly by commissioner, grinding away on Alpine Queen to get up in time for a photo finish victory to start off this late pick 4 at 5-2. We'll be back.
The breeding industry is governed by one principle: performance determines success.
And Constitution has won!
Now, he's earning his stripes by siring stars.
Independence Hall wins the Hagyard Bayette.
Law Professor just in front, and Law Professor.
American Revolution, fireworks in the stretch here in the Cigar Mile.
Constitution, a natural-born leader.
This season at Monmouth Park, opening day is Derby Day. Live racing returns to the Jersey Shore Saturday, May 7th with a special 2 p.m. first post. The action continues every weekend in May with racing starting at 12:15. Win early and often with our Win Early Pick 5s. New for 2022, on-site customers can lock in odds with fixed odds wagering at Monmouth Park Racetrack.
Irish Hill and Duchess View Stallions proudly standing the ultra-fast, multiple stakes winning son of Uncle Mo, King for a Day, the only horse to defeat 2019 3-year-old champion Maximum Security.
Well, King for a Day was basically a clone of Uncle Mo. I mean, good speed, the ability to carry it over distance of ground, real professional horse and a really cool horse to train.
Sire maker extraordinaire Uncle Mo, represented in New York by King for a Day. Visit ihdvstallions.com to book your mare today.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2, Bally Sports Southern California. Our program brought to you in part by Hill and Dale at Alapa. Photo finish in the start of this Pick 4, Race 6 here at Belmont. There's Irad Ortiz Jr. on the 4. Carrick work to do, but was relentless down the stretch.
Yeah, she was really carrying Irad into the race, leaving the 3/8 pole, traveling very nicely, Carrick there. Alpine Queen got the trip she needed, the trip she wanted. I thought Jorge Vargas was patient on her into the stretch. He set her down at just the right time. And watch when he sets her down. Right here, it looks like he gets the necessary response and almost looks like she's going to put away your eventual winner, Carrick. But Carrick kept coming with a relentless rally. And this guy's getting desperate here. And full disclosure, I needed the 7 Alpine Queen, but I can't make any excuses for her whatsoever.
That's how close this game can be sometimes. A little more than a nostril here in the 6th. Carrick.
Game of inches. Oh. Game of inches.
How often does Irad Ortiz Jr. seem to come out on top on those?
One of his strengths as a rider is his physical strength and how strong you finish on ours. Carrick, 720. Lando Noda hitting at quite a percentage here at this Belmont meeting.
7th at Belmont, mile and a 16th. Very interesting race here coming up. New York bred, entry-level allowance, and the return of Best Idea, who looked potentially like a star in the making for Todd Pletcher off a huge debut. Odds on in his next start, the Damon Runyon, and he just didn't show up in that race.
No, he really didn't. No visible excuses either.
We'll see today his comeback effort. First start back since that Damon Runyon. You can play the newest bet at Belmont, risk-free. $3 triple play pick 3. Place a $10 or more wager on the triple play pick 3. If your ticket doesn't hit, you'll get $10 back. Go to NYRABets.com. You do have to opt in. All the details are at NYRABets.com. More action coming up from Oaklawn. Race 5 kicks off the late pick 5. It's a maiden special weight, 6-furlong sprint. We'll have the post-parade for you when we return. Ari Oakley, the 6, going to be tough in this spot for Steve Asmussen.
Harris Farms, proudly standing Smiling Tiger, a triple grade 1 winner, defeating Breeders' Cup champions Dancing in Silks and Amazombie, a leading California sire with over $9.7 million in progeny earnings, with 94 winners in 2021 and graded stakes superstars like Spice Perfection.
Spice Perfection wins the Grade 1 La Brea.
And Tiger Dad. Smiling Tiger, a leading California sire, standing at Harris Farms. It pays to be Cal bred.
Back on America's Day at the Races, getting set for the 5th at Oaklawn, start of the late pick 5. Our program brought to you by champion sprinter Run Happy. Now standing in legendary stall number 1, a Claiborne Farm. He was one of a kind, never lost in his career while sprinting. 5th race here, everyone trying to get that first win of their career. 6 furlong sprint coming up, and we see a very short price on Ari Oakley in here, who just missed by a neck last time out, to a filly named Pinky Toe. We're going to see a little bit later on the card for the Asmussen Barn as well. That filly was able to go gate to wire and outlast her stablemate. Problem for the odds-on favorite is this horse right here, probably.
Speed from the inside, big long shot, but will be involved early.
Insignia, this is a first-time starter Curlin filly for Ron Moquette.
Out of a stakes-placed mare, winner. She's also had 3 winners from 4 starters and 1 debut winner, so there is precocity there.
Turn back in distance, coming in from Sam Houston, Proudfoot.
Yeah, has had a lot of chances, 0 for 10. How will that Sam Houston form hold up at Oaklawn?
17-1. Next door on another first-time starter. This is Reposado.
Reposado, first foal out of a stakes-winning mare, and it's got a nice, steady work tab.
For Robertino Diodoro, Lasix for the first start. Call Crystal, big price on what can at least be tactical.
Yeah, it could be in a stalking or close-up position, but she dropped to maiden 40 last time and couldn't get it done.
Here's the even money favorite, Ari Oakley, Asmussen, Isaac Castillo, and the dam dropped, among others, Bo Liam.
Yeah, some real pedigree to go on here by Gunrunner, one of the hottest sires out there, and has improved every start.
Start number 2, this one interesting at 7-1, Chartreuse.
Yeah, ran okay. Daughter of Run Happy could improve in second start.
Church Service had a little bit of traffic last time out. It was her 16th start, but she was second with a 62 by her.
Yeah, and her best races aren't too far off of the favorite in here, but she is 0 for 16 with 6 seconds.
Yeah, and a huge price outside. Didn't take much money first time out. Didn't show a lot first time out.
Yeah, and she was beaten about 18 lengths by your favorite, Ari Oakley. That's an awful lot of ground to make up.
Minute to post, race 5. It starts the late pick 5 out here in Hot Springs. You can play it with NyraBets. Again, get signed up, start it. Go to nyrabets.com, download the NyraBets app. Get that $25 Derby bet sign-up bonus and a $200 deposit match. New members, to take advantage of those offers, punch in Derby 25 at sign-up. JK, pick 5 starts here. We have an even money favorite who looks like she could have some company on the front end if she's forward.
Yeah, and look, she's had 4 opportunities to break her maiden. She's run good speed figures, so I understand why she's taking the money here as the most likely winner, and she probably will or could win this race. But at that short of a price, I'm going to kind of look elsewhere. I'm going to go to the 4, Reposado, not because I enjoy the beverage, but this is an interesting horse for Diodoro. Diodoro wins 16% first-time starters in his career. We all know what he does at Oaklawn. It's his backyard there. He wins a lot of races. This is an interesting horse who's had 21 works. 21 works. And they've all been pretty consistent since December. There was a little break where maybe if you look in there, you see maybe they missed a week here or a couple of weeks there. But that's a lot. 21 works leading up to this. So although Reposado does seem to lack the experience in racing, this horse likely knows its job at this point from all of the work they've got done in the morning. Now, some people might say that's a negative. 21 works and now finally just working and running, but they are taking a little bit of money. And like I said, I'm going to try to beat this 4-5 shot in the win pool. I wouldn't try to beat the 4-5 shot if you're playing the pick 5. I would definitely use the 6, Ari Oakley, but I think the 4, Reposado, is a little bit interesting. A lot of works, definitely the opposite of Allen Iverson.
Who did not love his practice, certainly. Different spelling than the tequila as well, Reposado.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, and the horse does have an extensive work tab, but out of the 12 published works that we see, 5 of them are gate works. I don't like to see that many gate works. It makes me question how handy a horse has been away from the gate in the mornings.
Well, keep your eyes on the 4 and see if that is an issue here early on in this race. There he is, stepping in. Daughter of Munnings for Diodoro. BG Stables. David Cohen rides. We're set for the late pick 5. Vic Stauffer, the call.
They're at the post. off. Ari Oakley broke well, and so did Adria. These two are quickest. Sammy Samurai and Reposado close up. Church Service and Chartreuse are next. Then Proudfoot, followed by Call Crystal, and the trailer is Insignia. It's Adria and Ari Oakley. Ari Oakley puts ahead in front. Adria is second by 1 length. 2, Chartreuse, a 3-wide Church Service, and a 4-wide Sammy Samurai. Reposado is just in behind those two. 6th, but only 2 from the front. 2 in front of Call Crystal and Proudfoot, and the trailer is Insignia, and the leader is Ari Oakley, and she's getting away. Ari Oakley to the quarter pole has suddenly opened up 3 lengths on Adria, Reposado, and Sammy Samurai. Proudfoot is next. Insignia is moving on nicely. Insignia has some forward momentum, but she is 7 lengths behind the front-running favorite, whose name is Ari Oakley. Ari Oakley in front. Insignia is going to dive to the inside, and here she comes in her debut, and she's running nicely, but Ari Oakley has 5 lengths to work with. Insignia nicely into second, and she's closing, but she's running out of ground. Ari Oakley and Insignia. It is Ari Oakley in front. Ari Oakley won by 2. Promising debut for Insignia. She was second by double digits, maybe 12. Proudfoot and Church Service.
Ari Oakley, too good for this group. And remember this performance, because again, coming up in race 7, stablemate Pinky Toe was able to beat Ari Oakley in her debut, and she's 6-1 morning line in that race.
No, listen, Ari Oakley did what she was supposed to do as the favorite. Comes through the stretch on her wrong lead. Keep an eye and mark down the 2-horse Insignia, who was kind of caught in rush hour traffic coming to the quarter pole, had to just tap on the brakes. Ricardo Santana searching for room, and finished with really good interest once she got room.
Odds on Ari Oakley to start off that late pick 5 as we return to Belmont. We have the triple play pick 3. Beginning here, 1.16 on the main track, this New York bred first allowance level. Best idea back for Todd Pletcher after that brilliant debut and then a flop in the Damon Runyon. Favorite right now is Pineapple Man, who has shown speed, was second. First try against winners for him, Mike Maker. Dylan Davis. 14 minutes to post. JK, how are you going to put together a triple play pick 3 here?
I'm really excited about these. I love these higher minimum wagers. I think it adds some opportunity to make some money. And with the lower minimum, sometimes it's more difficult. People can be a little bit more spready in there, take a little bit of value out of it. I'm going to play this one. I'm going to use 2 horses in this first leg. I'm going to use the 2 Best Idea and the 3 Anejo. Yes, I've picked 2 horses in back-to-back races that have to do with tequila. Has nothing to do with anything. I'm going to single Too Sexy. I'm a little bit worried about the pace, but I think Too Sexy can stay close enough and still produce. Too Sexy also runs well fresh, comes in off of a layoff, so I'll single the 2 in the second leg, and then I'll use 1, 4, 9 in the third leg, trying to beat the Chad Brown runner that I'd assume will be favored in that race. I'm going to use the 1 Urban Forest, the 4 Torpedo Run, and the 9 Smoke and Heat. If you watch the workouts online of the Chad Brown runner in the last, just not what you would expect or what you would hope for a horse that's likely going to be a short price.
And that's Devil's Outlaw, who has already made 5 starts, 4 seconds in 5 starts, but that, of course, over in Ireland, going to make the States and Chad Brown debut coming up with blinkers off in that nightcap with Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard.
Yeah, always an interesting proposition. This horse bred by John Gunther and others. They breed a good horse, and they tend to recognize when a horse will suit American racing, whether it's the pace, whether it's maybe the addition of Lasix. They've had great success with bringing horses back from Europe.
One of the runners, Jonathan, said he's going to use to start off this triple play pick 3. Anejo, very impressive maiden win last summer at Saratoga. That was going a mile and an eighth. Can he get back to it? Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
I think so, Greg. He gets to play against some New York breds again. And the last time we saw him doing that, he was well beaten, albeit by a Grade 1 winner in American Revolution. So back to the dirt after getting a tune-up at Turfway on the synthetic, and he looks best here. I like Anejo. I like the distance for him. I like the circumstances. I think Jack Sisterson could be getting his second win on the card with Calumet and Flavian Pratt. Moving on to number 7, Pineapple Man. Look, He ran really well last time. He took pace pressure the entire way. He won the battle but lost the war in the end, as the horse that finally got up and beat him came from well back. I respect that effort he comes into this one off of. My thing is just the principles that I go by of judging horses in the paddock. He does not look like your typical route horse. He's very compact and stocky and just looks like a sprinter. I did notice one change in the equipment. He is wearing a shadow roll for the first time. Not that I noticed him particularly running with his head up in the air, but just something to point out, little difference in equipment today. But like I said, Greg, overall, love him. Like the effort he comes in off of, just not sold on the distance.
Mile and a 16th for Pineapple Man coming up. His last 2 tries were at a mile. He broke his maiden at a mile on the front end, and then he was on the front end again. First time in against Winners, had a 2-length lead in the stretch, Mig. We're going to show it to you, and he got run down late.
Yeah, and I didn't think he had really any excuses. I mean, he kind of cruised along like he was going to go ahead and just, finish the deal, and just didn't get it done. He got run down late. And now he's got to go a 16th of a mile further. And for that matter, I don't think he's going to be alone on the lead. I think the 2 best idea from the rail has to go. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in a minute. But no excuses here. He seemingly had the race won, and it just, to me, bottomed out a little bit late. Like maybe, he broke his maiden going a mile, but maybe a mile's as far as he wants to go. And now he's got another 110 yards to negotiate.
So wow, he's favored here at 5-2. With Dylan Davis. There's a look at him.
You can see what Maggie's talking about. A little bit closer quarters, a little bit, stockier. That usually tends to make you feel like a horse wants less ground, not more ground.
Well, and he might have been telling you that too, not lasting in a mile last time out, despite that, not scaring the public away at all. So we'll see. Yeah, best idea from the rail. Irad Ortiz Jr., he showed sprint speed in his debut. Again, that triple play, pick 3. First of the meet here coming up.
Last time he had the rail, he got outfooted a little bit. I think he was resenting the kickback. He was under a hard drive to try to get him to run through that kickback. From the rail again today, they have one thing to do, and that's to go forward and try for the lead so he doesn't have to encounter that kickback, which seemingly, to me at least, he resented last time.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because after that debut, New York bred that seemed like he could be potentially, I'm not going to say it was going to be Todd Pletcher's next American Revolution, but a horse that had that kind of ability to move forward and show a ton of talent first time out. Here's the one. This is Son of an X. Heeman Harkey rides.
Big effort, too, back in the Caixa Electronica, Claiming Crown Day. This is, ran in the Excelsior. I had no chance. This is a much more realistic spot.
The other half of the entry, he'll break second to the outside, Forever Wicked with Eric Cancel.
I would think he's the second preferred of this entry. It just seems Son of an X is a bit more upside.
So here he is, best idea, 85 Beyer, dominant in his debut for Pletcher, and then a flop in the Damon Runyon.
Yeah, but when he was clear the whole time, he never had dirt thrown in his face, no kickback. The rail draw kind of dictates that he goes forward. I think he's a part of the pace.
Big maiden win last summer at Saratoga. That was going a mile and 1/8 for this horse right here, Anejo. He got an 82 Beyer for it.
And then he has a race over the synthetic at Turfway. Should set him up nicely for this, and I think he sits the right trip with speed in front of him.
Emperor's Cause, little interesting. You probably look at him and dismiss. On Thoroughgraphs, he's paired up numbers the last 2. Looks like a forward move is potentially coming, but just 1 for 17.
1 for 17, 6 seconds, too. When horses start piling up a lot more seconds than wins, you got to start questioning their total desire at crunch time.
Jose Ortiz going to be on Pier 40 here, who's a 3-time winner.
I think he'd like to see things get pretty hot on the front end because he's more of a deep closing type.
Convertible Freeze, Manny Franco riding for Jimmy Ryerson.
Big price, but another horse that could be at least involved early part of the pace.
He was a long way back to Pineapple Man in that race we showed you, him getting beat late stages. He was about 7 lengths behind him. And there is Pineapple Man. Again, he wants to be forward. Dylan Davis knows him well.
A nice horse. Honest, has really done nothing wrong since his debut. But I think he's going to have some company on the front end, and I'm questioning if he really wants a mile on the 16th.
And I don't know if this horse is up to this level in any way, shape, or form, but he's one of the more interesting horses on this card today. Grabbing the money, coming out of Mahoning Valley, just won by 20.5 lengths. Huge step forward in the 11th start of his career to destroy a field and break his maiden.
And gets the hot riding apprentice, Jose Gomez. I know you're interested in this horse. I could tell you
I'm
like
excited
this
to
horse.
see what he can do at this level.
You made me watch this horse's replay.
Can he produce that type of a race here in New York? That's the big question. He's 13-1 right now. There's the man leading the way in the standings, Dylan Davis. Already a win on today's card, standing at 7 at the meet. Great start for him to this Belmont meet.
Continuing the momentum that he built, being leading rider over the winter meeting. Close runner-up in the spring meeting, and off to a rocket start at this Belmont summer stand. And you could just see his confidence. He's just so confident right now.
So big to get that, obviously, that first riding title of his career, but then with all these big name riders coming back, Irad, Joel Rosario, John Velasquez, now Flavien Prat's here, to have that in your back pocket and now know you're one of the guys too. Does that give him that kind of confidence?
Well, I think so. I think, young rider has to prove to himself that he belongs, that he's capable of being leading rider, that he's capable of holding his own and then some with as tough a colony is. And make no mistake, Dylan Davis is one of the guys. I mean, this is a very strong colony. You can go about 15 deep and be pretty happy with the rider you come up with.
He's on a horse who was favored, not anymore. The favorite now shifts to Anejo. And one of the new faces here in New York, one of the best in the country, Flavien Prat. Let's go to Jonathan here again, get his thoughts on the 7th coming up.
Yeah, Wolfie, the two horses that I'm interested in here, the 2 and the 3, the 2 Best Idea and the 3 Anejo, they both have races in their past that absolutely win this. The question is, are you going to get those? You start with the 2 Best Idea. That debut was outstanding. The horse ran extremely well, didn't have things go his own way, broke from the inside, was impressive. Came back, had a funny trip a little bit, but still didn't really pick up his feet like you would think he should have based off of that first performance. So you have a decision to make. Can you draw a line through that and just hope that you're going to see that original performance? I think that there's a chance you might. Now, if I don't see it here, I'll probably give up on Best Idea as that horse that debuted back in February. The same can be said about the 3 Anejo. Look, last race was probably a prep on the synthetic, but if you look at the race 3 back at Saratoga, if he runs that race here today, he'll win again. But both of those horses, you're kind of needing them to run something that they haven't done recently. And that's the biggest issue. But I do think that one of them will show up in here. I think the prices are pretty fair on both of them as well. The only other horse in here that I thought was interesting, and funny enough, Maggie wants to talk about the horse as well, is the One Son of an X down on the inside. So a horse that has some speed figures too. Probably needs to get a little bit faster, Maggie, but how does he look on the racetrack?
He's run a lot this year, Jonathan, and at times, like 2 back, like Richie was saying, he is fast enough to win this race. But a lot of times when you see a horse that has run, he's run like every 2 or 3 weeks, basically throughout the first 4 months of 2022. So you kind of expect a horse maybe to be a little drawn up. That is not the case. This horse carries his weight and conditioning so well. He's dabbled head to toe. He got a lovely warm-up. He seems to be, I like these FNXs. We're not going to see many of them, but they're very actually intelligent horses and very kind of attuned to the riders. I think, Heman Harkey had a long hold. He kind of settled into the bit, and then he shook the reins at him, and he's like, oh, you want me to go faster? Okay, all right. And then he grabbed him again. He said, oh, okay, no, we're just galloping. So I just thought that was, endearing in a way, and I think it's a good quality to have a horse that is intelligent. So I'm not going to be surprised when Son of an X can jump up and get a piece of this. As number 2, Best Idea, I don't know what to do with. I'm not going to be surprised when he wins, but I just can't really get behind him as we see some shuffling on the gate. I don't know what that's about, but number 2, Best Idea, he won first time out with a big figure. Are they getting rid of it? Okay, the whole shuffle. We have a late scratch. Wow. We have 2 late scratches here. The 6 is out, Convertible Freeze, and the 7, Pineapple Man, who did look awfully stabby in the warm-up. So we will not see Pineapple Man or Convertible Freeze playing here in this 7th race, and that is certainly in the best interest of the horse rider and as well the betting public. As we'll take a look at number 2, Best Idea. Again, I don't know what to make of him because he ran a really fast race first time out, but none of the horses that finished, albeit well behind him, have come back to even get close to sniffing what that race was. And he didn't show up in his last race in the Damon Runyon. Maybe he's a horse that needs Lasix. He looks fine to me, and I do think he benefits with the added distance, and he is bright and energetic, so it's not like he looks like a horse that's coming in off of a very poor effort. As Emperor's Calls, I'm very interested in. This is a horse that, as of late, he hadn't been running quite as well on wet tracks. Then Rob Atras claims him, who we often see improve horses, and he gets well beaten by Rock Sugar, who was a very logical horse that day. And he runs better on a wet track than what he has. His best race to date has come at his one race here at Belmont Park on a fast track. And I've seen Chris Englehart do well with these types of horses. I'm not in love with him physically, but there's nothing wrong with him. I'm very scared of Aneo in here. I think Aneo is the best favorite that you could ask for, but I think Emperor's Calls could step up and make some noise, Greg.
Hey, Maggie, real quick, we're taking a look at this 8 here. I just thought this was such an interesting horse to even show up on this circuit, having raced at Mahoning Valley, and out of nowhere, seemingly, in the 11th start of his career, runs that huge number. Have you seen anything from him grabbing the money that in a positive way?
I couldn't fault him, Greg. He's not my cup of tea coming in here, but a horse that is built to handle a distance of ground, very long, scopy horse, nice energy, incredibly fit coach to him.
Interesting, and with the scratch, Mig, of really both. The 6 could be forward, the 7 we know wanted to be forward. Best Idea has the rail. He's shown sprint speed. But the other horse that wants to be forward, probably the 8, grabbing the money.
Yeah, no doubt. And this is a horse that you've been trying so hard to make case for all day. He's got a good outside draw. He's going to have to show turn speed as opposed to last time, which has been at the 2 here the most. And he went to the favoritism now. He's going to be on the lead.
Yeah, Irad Ortiz Jr., you would think intent to be forward here. He's the 7-5 favorite now with those horses that wanted to be up near the lead. Certainly Pineapple Man. We're set for the 7th and trip 3. Let's
War for Forever winning the money. And they're off. It's 40. Emperor's Aneo. This race on the outside is money down at the road. Is now the trailer. In 7th, up there. Of
Iron.
Respect the law. 'Tis the law.
His structure is perfect. His bone is perfect.
He's left the others behind. He's gonna win the run. Happy
Cyberknife. Here comes Secret Oath. Cyberknife. Secret Oath is not going to get by. The Arkansas Derby winner. Cyberknife from the outside. And here's Kaba getting the upper hand in the final stages. Santa Anita Derby goes to Kaba.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, our program brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Still has not been posted yet, the result here in the 7th at Belmont. Now it just has. That was a long time.
That was a long time because it seemed pretty clear that the 3 Anejo won by pretty much ahead.
And you just believe what stewards were taking a look at the head-on and seeing what was going on down the stretch?
Sometimes I believe there's a delay posting a photo when there was some contact and maybe the stewards were reviewing it, but that just seems to take an inordinately long amount of time.
No, it was tight here. It was tight here.
Well, they came together 2 or 3 separate incidents, but I think they were both at fault. One stepped out at one point, one stepped in at another point. I think they both were kind of roughing each other up a little bit.
And for Anejo to re-rally, big effort for him. Flavien Prat, he was aggressive with his horse right out of the gate.
To me, that was the key to victory. He took control of the race, seized it right off the break, and that's why Flavien Prat will be so successful here. He's a rider who's not bashful about basically seizing a race and making guys adjust around him as opposed to him adjusting around other guys.
Jack Sisterson, Calumet Farm, Flavien Prat 9-5 on Anejo here in this 7th race. And, even he lost this race, but best idea, good to see him back to running a winning type race.
Oh, absolutely. And he broke a touch slow from that inside post, was in behind horses again, but seemed more comfortable. Kickback doesn't come back as hard as you go longer because the pace is slower. Horses aren't throwing it back. When he got in the clear, it looked like he was going to go right on by, but Anejo got so comfortable on the lead because of that aggressive ride by Flavien Prat.
So Anejo with this win here in the 7th. We still have our feature coming up. All the jockeys here lined up in the winner's circle. We had a tragic accident in our sport earlier this week. With more, let's go upstairs to John Imbrial.
Winner's circle, where members of the NYRA Jockey Colony will lead a moment of silence to honor the life of Callie Witt, the exercise rider who was killed in a tragic accident on Friday morning at Keeneland. Callie was just 20 years old and in the midst of working on her craft in the hopes of becoming a jockey one day. A native Nebraskan, Callie was pursuing a college degree while working for trainer Joe Sharp in the mornings. She was a talented athlete who became a state champion wrestler in high school. The New York racing community offers our condolences to Callie's family, friends, and colleagues. And now, this moment of silence. Thank you.
Incredibly sad. I think it kind of shook everyone in this sport when we heard about this earlier in the week. And, you know, Callie Witt, so young, just 20 years old, was going to school and actually was just about to graduate from the North American Racing Academy to aspire her dreams of becoming a jockey.
Yeah, it just underscores just how dangerous it is for the women and men that ride horses, whether it's in the morning or the afternoons, and it could just be one simple misstep from a horse and things happen so quickly. Our hearts and condolences go out to her family and all of her friends, and you can see how it affects the entire racing community.
There is a GoFundMe page as well, which you can find, Callie Witt, W-I-T-T. Search for that, GoFundMe, and you can contribute to that GoFundMe page. Going to get back to action here coming up. We do have our feature race next here at Belmont. That is the license fee on the turf. And Christophe Clement, we're continually seeing his runners here coming off the bench. He's got a 5-year-old mare, Too Sexy, who's going to be making her 5-year-old return to the races. He's had great success in this race. He won it in 2015, 2017, and of course last year was She's My Type.
She's just tough, always runs well. Gets Joel Rosario. Is there anybody better in turf sprints than Joel Rosario? It doesn't feel like there is.
Still